Bud Bert. It's a Two Bud Bert podcast. Two Buds Bert. Only have 2 beers and make a podcast. Two Bud Bert.
Are you going to intro this?
Intro. Well, yeah. I mean, there was a few ideas.
Bert's nose on Bone's nose.
Bert's nose. Welcome to either, otherwise known as, right? Two Bud Berts. Yeah. What was it?
Can you not make the intro to this so shit that people tune out before we actually get talking?
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
It's part of the charm.
The thing is, I still even can't decide whether I actually skip over the adverts or I like to listen at the way they re-pitch me the same thing every week. Like Me Undies. It's like, yeah, I get it.
Personally, like, I used to listen to Rogan's adverts because he used to do them at the start of the show.
Yeah.
And you'd be like half hour into a show sometimes, and then they'd be talking about something completely different. They'd be like, wait, did we finish the ads? And then he'd go back, he'd be like, oh no, we haven't finished the ads, I have to go back to the ads. But now he does them at the end of the show afterwards and pins them on. I'm like, fuck that. That's not, now I skip it over.
Well, it's easy.
He did them at the beginning of last week's one.
When it's a slightly different one he does.
Okay,
but
yeah.
like the standard procedure now is to do them afterwards.
Oh, well, he doesn't beginning and after.
Well,
But he
like
does
8
all of the ads at the end and puts them at the beginning and the end as post. So when you watch it live, he doesn't do the ads at the start.
Oh, I see what you mean. I
Bert's
never
ones
watched
are
it.
funny because he's always doing them with his wife when he's not done the podcast and he's just sitting at home trying to drink and he's just like, but no, so it's going to be Two Bud Bert, The Revenge of Pump and Squirt. So we can go into those names.
2 in jokes.
Yeah.
Two
One
very
title.
Yeah. Not that I am a good drinker now because I still can't drink very well. But
Significantly better than back then, though.
significantly better than back then. However, I still have bad drunk stories, which we can get onto another day.
Many.
But it was Two Bud Bert I was called obviously Bert, and then Two Buds was my limit. And I was explaining this to Captain just after I told her that you don't drink much anymore.
I don't drink at all, really.
Anymore, yeah. Unless you hang out with me, and then you have one drink, and then you're like on the wall.
Yeah, I'm a ridiculous lightweight. I had what was it? I had an espresso martini the other day.
That's the way.
Jesus.
That's the way.
I couldn't finish it. I was wasted halfway through.
What do you mean you can finish it? That's like a one slurp drink. Like, bang!
Yeah.
I found recently only drinking espresso martinis and coffee Patron. I don't drink, except let's get on it. Let's get fucking on it.
See,
I'll see you in the morning.
This is a good segue into what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
which is the horror that is cold brew coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't asked you guys your opinions about it, but I read about it and I read it's the trendy new thing and everyone's getting on it and it's super hipster and blah blah blah.
So I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so cold brew coffee apparently I don't know, but from what I understand, cold brew coffee it's a trendy new thing whereby you don't boil water and pour it over the coffee beans.
Yeah.
You soak coffee beans, I think, in cold water overnight for like 12 hours or something.
Okay.
And then what that's supposed to do is it infuses the water in a different way and therefore you get a different flavor from it. And the way it was sold to me was like it's a delicious new way of having coffee. And I'm not a coffee drinker. Okay, I like an iced coffee or like coffee
like
flavored
sugared
things.
coffee?
Yeah, or sugar coffee. I'm one of those kind of people. But I just don't I'm not obsessed with drinking coffee like most people are. But then when someone said, "Oh, it's nice, it's cold, it's sweeter because of the way that the flavor comes out of the bean."
Yeah.
Anyway, I tasted it yesterday for the first time. What's the look on your face?
No, it's the whole. I'll tell you in a second because I went to a coffee festival last year and I felt exactly the same way.
Okay,
I
so
walked in being like, I love coffee.
I tried it.
I left thinking I hate coffee and I hate these people.
that's a whole different
There is
thing
a whole
entirely.
man bun thing going on in the coffee industry that is it's a problem. It's a problem.
Do you even AeroPress, bro?
I'm a god. Like,
Okay, so anyway, just to finish the story. So I was on holiday in Italy last week. Well, on holiday, drove to Italy last weekend for the lols and found a couple of places that said they did it, but they didn't actually have any. And then I finally found some yesterday, and I tried it. Super hyped. Been looking forward to it for ages, and it was fucking disgusting.
do you like cold coffee?
Yes.
Generally. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Because I've recently got to like cold coffee, because I drink so much cold coffee because it just goes cold.
Oh, right.
I've got
Well, that's
used to it.
different.
Now I like drinking cold coffee.
I like
but
ice cold.
the flavor of coffee cold now is I like. But I still don't like going and buying a cold coffee Do you know what I mean? That still seems wrong to me.
See, to me, that's the only right way to drink coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't like hot coffee. For some
Okay.
reason.
But the cold brew, as described to me by a guy that has one in the shop, he was like, oh, and over here we do the Chemex style of stuff, and over here we have the espresso machine, and over there there's a cold brew. That's just gimmick. That's how it was sold to me by the guy that owns one of those shops.
Interesting.
So I think it is, if you've got a man bun,
yeah,
you probably like a good cold brew because
but why would you like it?
Because you're trying to be cool.
But it's disgusting.
But it's got a cool machine, and you can stand there for fucking hours waiting for it, and you're like,
Right.
oh, I've got a man bun, and I'm drinking cold coffee. Rah, look at me.
Well, I think you're just wasting your life because it tasted to me like cold bong water.
Oh, okay.
And we all know what that tastes like. I don't know. I mean, in principle, the idea sounds great. However, I would say that, when you say you like cold coffee, I think you like what I'm addicted to as well, which is those little cans of, whatever
like
they're
a frappuccino.
called. Yeah, but it's like a cold one in the fridge, and they are literally, if you look at the back of that can,
They're so full of sugar.
it's more sugar than Coca-Cola.
Yeah. It's
like
not
a
the caffeine.
main vein.
It's not the caffeine in that coffee that's giving you a buzz.
Me, I get up on my high horse and I go, look, I won't drink Red Bull, sadly. No.
Let's moving on to another topic.
I won't drink Red Bull, but I'll happily buy these Starbucks in a can double espresso things, which make me fart because there's so much milk in them as well. And then, so that's like, but no, you must. Do you not just? Have you never had just like literally a straight hot espresso?
I don't like it. What's the point? It's like it's done in half a second, and I'm not going to sit there like a ponce and sip this 15 milliliters of liquid. Like,
so an espresso is good for me if I'm on the move and I've got to drink quick and I need to wake up quickly. But I just have a fucking Chemex, a massive vat, like a vase full of coffee.
I can understand having
day.
if you've got a mug full of coffee and you drink it like a hot drink, then great. If you like that, that's fine. But I just find espressos a wanky waste of time. I love a cup of tea because it's a big mug of like hot drink that you can chug down and it's
But then
delicious.
you're a flat white sort of person.
That's a coffee, isn't it?
Do you put milk?
that's
You
a
put
coffee,
milk in your coffee?
Yeah.
If I was to have a coffee, I'd
Heathen.
put milk and sugar in.
Fucking
Yeah.
heathens.
No, and like I'm like a dry cappuccino sort of guy, which is even more poncy than but which means I like milk, but I don't really, and I'm going to pretend that I'm like, but really all I want is foam. And then the other day my boss brought me a coffee back, and he goes, "I didn't know what you wanted, so I got you a latte."
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, seriously, like,
Not even with an extra shot.
yeah,
You're just fucking with me.
You
You're like,
literally just brought me a glass of milk.
basically, right? Yeah.
Take this away. Like,
I mean, I love Simon as I do. He's recently twice bought me like a flat white, and I'm like, look, that's great. I'll slurp that down, and I'll have a little like. 10
minutes.
Yeah.
The milk.
But I'm probably going to need some coffee in that if that's all right.
So that was a funny comment you made about the energy drinks. Do you want to introduce me to your
Oh yeah, so
five listeners?
Christian, as far as I know, till today, because we haven't seen each other for a year, and he has some good stories to tell me, like nearly dying, and also, how long have you lived in Germany now? 8 years. I mean,
Oh, I thought you were laughing because you deliberately messed up the country that I live in.
no, I know, I did deliberately mess it up. So
Okay.
you've lived,
Where does he live?
You lived in Paraguay for like 6 months or something. I don't know. Who do you even work for? You work for Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
my
introduced
goodness.
him. Yeah,
No,
so I
so
guess this is good.
Christian happens to be like somewhat. You're a media mogul now.
No, I don't
That's
think
my
that's
official
not
title.
that's not on my card. No,
No, that's
not
Tony's
yet.
title.
Yeah.
I'll try.
So as far as I know, you make really cool videos for Red Bull.
Yes.
Is that right still?
Yeah, that's
Just
what I
about.
do. Yeah, video editor for
Video editor.
for Red Bull Media House.
And you live in Salzburg,
Yep.
which is in
Australia.
Thank you so much. I was leading with Vienna. I was going to lead with which Vienna is in Austria.
It is.
It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
in the same
It's a pretty
country,
useful
that
capital
is.
city.
It's
Yeah.
the capital city.
Yeah.
This is where let's not go into history. I was going to say it's where the Afro-Hungarian party came from or something.
The Afro-Hungarians. Yes, that was that.
Okay, there's enough Austrian history.
Yeah, that'll do. Anyway, so
We'll do a whole episode on the
Yeah.
Afro-Hungarians another
Yeah.
time.
yeah. Why are you back in London though?
I'm back. I just came back for the weekend because Friday I went and saw Hans Zimmer live
Oh my
at Wembley,
god!
Nice.
which was
Was that good?
Where?
at Wembley Arena. It's actually the second time I've seen him. I saw him this time last year playing in Vienna,
Oh wow.
which was amazing. And then I loved it so much that when I found out he was doing it again this time around in London, got tickets for that as well.
I thought he played at the Royal Albert Hall one time.
That would have been better. Like Wembley, it's a useful venue, but
It's not perfect
man,
for that kind of thing.
it's not perfect for that kind of thing, especially because it's just full of people stuffing their faces with burgers and chips. And I'm trying to watch
But didn't they have
Hans
loads
Zimmer
of
and a
screens
50-piece
up?
orchestra.
It's better than the
Didn't they have
O2,
screens
but
everywhere?
not
No.
but
Oh,
not the
no.
Royal Albert Hall. I guess so.
Look, the Royal Albert Hall and the Roundhouse are my two not favourite venues.
I like the Roundhouse.
I personally don't
Why?
get it.
But for what type of music?
But
That's
for the audio seems to bounce wherever I sit, or I'm just like. And the last time I went to Royal Albert Hall, apart from the fact that I'd obviously gone to see the wrong show, which was my fault, I went to see what's that old dude called? Not Beethoven, the other one, Bach, whatever. And I was thinking, and it was like,
Bach was there.
no, he wasn't there. They were playing his music
Okay.
with like
Just checking.
pianos and violins and stuff.
Okay.
And it was like amazing. But however, there was this massive like
I can't imagine.
35-minute bit before it, which is something we don't know. It's just like the new metal of orchestra, and it's like what I'm trying to think. It's like inspirational dance for orchestra, and it was like 30 minutes of noise. Like it wasn't even like listening to math rock. It was just awful, like awful, like
But what?
no, like
People can't see your hands. You have to use
yeah.
words.
Okay, so it was just like you know.
That sounds
To
pretty
be
cool.
fair, that sounds like a lot of the Hans Zimmer shit that I saw on Friday, to be honest.
You should do a show, man. It's an a cappella orchestral, like Nuevo Orchestral Bertie.
Yeah. Oh, it was, yeah. And we're sitting in these old seats, which are like obviously made for people that were born in the 1800s, which means that they're wearing top hats and they have like backs that are obviously not now de-evolved backs.
Posture, you mean?
Posture, yeah. Literally.
Seats made for people with posture.
And they had signs saying, do not leave once you've sat down. Oh no, if you leave once you've sat down, you can't go back until...
It's not a gig.
Yeah.
Yeah,
concert.
that's like proper concerts.
Yeah.
And it's the same, like, when I went and saw Hans Zimmer in Vienna last year, we turned up 5 minutes late and we had to wait for the first set to be finished. It wasn't the interval, it was just
No,
like
the
every...
first set,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
It's the same with like theatre. They don't
So-
let you in.
Is he there with a white stick or is he actually...
No, so he's not conducting, and that's
no.
the bizarre thing about it. So you would expect he's got a 50-piece orchestra there, and like he's got, I would say, 15 primary musicians. So he's got his crew, like his crew that
number
he like
ones.
rolls deep with.
Yeah.
And then
First chairs. And that's a real thing.
is that the real thing?
Yeah, first chair.
The ones at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Of
that
each
they
instrument,
exactly.
like,
yeah.
violin.
Yeah. So violin, cello, guitar, drums, that kind of
Sure,
shit.
His bottom bitches.
Exactly. And then behind them, he's got that was a long pause. He's got
Pistachio
some
music people.
pistachio music people.
Elevators. He's just got a
So just like the
elevator people.
general orchestra, and then behind them he's got the choir, and there were about 50 people on stage. And I would recommend you look it up on YouTube or something and just
Yeah.
try and find, because I think he played Coachella last year as well. So they put all of the sets up on YouTube.
So what does
and
he
it's
do?
awesome.
Walk around and breathe
No,
over
so
people's
he-
shoulders?
No, he
Like
he
earring.
plays as well.
Plays what? Piano?
He plays some keyboard.
Yeah.
He plays some guitar. He plays some
Wow.
I don't know, lute, whatever. He's a pretty.
That's what you
That's
gotta
cool.
do, isn't it?
So,
Yeah.
Once you've got
did
all
they
your bottom
do,
bitches
like-
in line, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to fucking.
Yeah.
wave
Did they
the
do
stick.
all the bits?
Yeah. So the way that the concert worked was.
Start with Star Wars, into Indiana Jones, and then end on like say what? Jurassic Park.
Okay, so John Williams wasn't there.
Oh really? Is that
John
right?
Williams. You...
Damn it! Are they all John Williams?
Yes.
Oh, because that's how I watched the other day on YouTube, and that was amazing with the a cappella group of Harvard or something singing all of his favourite songs. Back to the Future. It's not him either. That's Hans Zimmer.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Back to the Future is like Chuck Berry.
No, honestly, like this is where
The
you need
score.
the-
I don't remember who did
This
the
is
score.
where you
for Back
need the
to Future.
research guy, but anyway.
Well, Back to the Future is actually like a soundtrack. It's like the power of love and stuff like that.
There still is a bed in there, but it's not. I
Okay.
can't remember who did it. I don't think it was anyone exceptional. Because there's the
Yeah, I know but I know
There
what
is
you
the-
mean.
there is the
yeah,
sound,
yeah. So the twinkles in there, and the
whatever
kind
the
of
fucking there is the big Back to the Future
Oh, you might be
Think
right.
of Dick
Huey
Regis.
Lewis in the news.
is. The,
yeah. There you go.
Oh, I really thought he'd done the actual rest of
You
it.
got the
though.
power.
Conducted by Alan Silvestri,
Alan Silvestri, yeah.
who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump. And it's Robert Zemeckis. He's the director. That
Robert
guy.
Zemeckis, yeah.
Zemeckis. Is that how you pronounce it?
Mm.
Oh my god, that's like
What were you
those
saying?
names.
Zemerick.
Zimmerick's or whatever. There's
No,
those names
Robert
where you say it
Zemeckis.
wrong for ages.
Yeah, and the Kathleen
Like,
Kennedy
You
as
don't,
well.
you don't read the words so much as just look at it and be like,
No,
that's
but
probably
There
pronounced
was
that
something
way.
else I was doing that for ages, and then someone said to me, "No, that's not how you pronounce it." I just can't think about that now.
Probably more than one thing with you, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so you went to see the concert.
Yeah, I feel like this is like not very. It's not a funny story in any way. I'm just telling you what I did.
It's
Well,
cool.
it's not meant to be funny. Now everyone's gone and literally he's got like 1,000 hits from just this, or 2 hits from Jay and from somebody else. downloading
Probably me
the
again.
ultimate Spotify playlist. Apart from, let's not talk about Spotify, because that's just like fire to Tony's bull.
Yeah, but see,
Yeah.
this is like it's funny. It's
Especially.
funny recording a pod because like I said, I've been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan recently, and so I feel there's like a large pressure on me to be as interesting as a Harvard economics professor,
That wasn't
and
allowed to
also
give a show.
it's ridiculous, and then also like as funny as one of the best stand-up comedians in the US, and maybe as insightful as do you know what I mean? Whereas all I'm
It's
doing
difficult.
Yeah, I mean, but you also don't want to be like, because you work in the media industry, you don't want to be the camera facing on yourself. You don't want to constantly be the third eye, you know. So as you're obviously editing stuff, you're thinking what looks cool, and then you're thinking, what do people see? No, or not?
yeah, you got to be like hyper aware of.
But I think when you're on the Bones Nose podcast, which by the way is really good and you should definitely listen to, or you're on the unnamed Bertcast, which is not called Bertcast.
that's a good name.
No,
The
Bertcast.
Bertcast.
Sadly
It's
already
the
has
name
it.
of Bert Kreischer's
No.
podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, damn
And
it.
it's a really good
And
podcast.
by the way, if you like Bert Kreischer, go to bertbertbert.com. He's really awesome.
Yeah.
It's like my hero for now. But the third eye, yeah, don't worry about the third eye. That's why I drink beer. It makes the podcast more fun.
Okay. Well then, to finish the story, so it's a really cool show. He takes all of the different films that he's done and recomposes each one into like a 15-minute
Cool.
medley from that film. So you'll
The
recognize, so exactly. You take Gladiator, for example. Everyone knows Gladiator. It's one of the most emotional soundtracks you can think of, and there's so many different elements to the film. So in the beginning, you've got the battle in Germany, and then you've got some of the fight scenes in the
And does he do
Colosseum.
it in the order? It's essentially in the order of the movie. Does he take you through the movie to a degree? Or
That's
is
a
it
good
just-
question. Some of the movies I don't know well enough to know about the order. Gladiator, I would
But you
say
get it
he
from
does.
the
Yeah.
vibe. If you know the movie well,
Yeah,
enough,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can get it from the vibe, can't you? Yeah,
Exactly.
That's
And
cool.
there's so many. I mean, he's got so many. He started with Crimson Tide and Angels and
Oh, wow,
Demons.
cool.
And then went into the Lion King dude just came out of nowhere. So he was actually there. That actual dude that sings.
The guy?
on yeah.
Nice.
And he's got a really interesting backstory actually, because he was a political refugee from Soweto, and he was, I think, washing dishes or something. Sorry if I got that wrong, but I think he was washing dishes in the States, and somehow Hans Zimmer came across him, and they ended up becoming friends, and he recorded the
Soundtrack.
vocals for Lion King, which is now one of the most iconic.
But that's kind of like the circle of life, isn't it? That sometimes.
I like see Rupert's got his like lead podcast man brain on right now.
Yeah.
No, I just couldn't.
I mean, I had a funny I was going to drop, but after that, I can't even contend. Like,
Well, I just couldn't help it. The whole time I was thinking, like, washing dishes and then becoming one of the biggest voices for as Baby Lion in an animated movie. I mean, that is a good circle.
he's not the voice for the lion.
No?
No, he sings.
He's the guy
song.
singing the fucking song.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger, the
Yeah,
Arsene
Wenger,
Wenger guy. Yeah. He doesn't then do the voice of Simba.
No, it was that little kid that was in the Wilson thing. Tool Time, wasn't it?
What?
The next door neighbour was called Wilson.
Yeah.
Tool Time with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good show.
It was good.
That was great.
I used to watch that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was just on. I don't know if it was actually that good.
No, I don't think it
was
was.
Yeah, it
definitely
may
on a
have
lot,
been.
though.
That was back in the day.
Aren't they bringing something back like that? I thought the other. Oh,
everything?
Twin Peaks.
So-
no.
Let's
You've seen
Let's
the
not
Jean
even-
Claude Van Damme. John.
The kickboxer sequel.
No. You've seen Jean Claude Jean Damme. No, it's just called James Damme or something. It's
No.
on Amazon
I
Prime.
think someone may have told me about this.
It's hard work, but it's funny in a sort of really officey sort of way. But he's not very good at it.
What, Jean-Claude Van Damme?
So he's playing himself,
Yeah.
but his name is actually Jason or Johnson Van Damme,
Okay.
right? And he's actually an actor that plays Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's washed up. He's like 55. He's retired. He'd had all those famous movies behind his belt, which he's had. But he's actually a spy.
Okay.
And it's... I mean...
I'm going to check that out. That's
I know. I mean, I think the second episode, hopefully it's one of those ones where...
It's a show.
No, well, yeah, they voted. People voted.
That's how
Whether-
Amazon does it.
So
As to
Amazon
whether it
does
should
now.
continue.
And people thought yes. And then I watched it and went, I voted for this and went, no, this is really bad. And even when Catherine's asking me questions and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to explain it because...
The pilot's not enough. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can have a great pilot and then they'll make a shit show. Or you can have a shit pilot that turns into a great show.
Great show.
A pilot's not enough to know. I need like 6, 7, 8 episodes.
Yeah,
before
these
I'm
days
like,
you
Well, the
do.
first 3
actually,
episodes are an absolute write-off anyway. You mostly don't concentrate
character
on
introduction.
that. Yeah.
Like,
And it's just-
if they even bother, which they don't
Yeah.
sometimes these days, it's just like
Well,
straight into the story. You're not even going to understand what's going on for 7 episodes, but later on, it's going to make you want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
Look how good we are. Like,
Although I find trailers as well. I watched the show I'm really into at the moment is The Expanse.
I
was literally there with that, and then just one day I stopped watching.
It's so good. It's best
written by
sci-fi
one of the
show.
best guys in the world, and it's got the best oh my god, he's the new sci-fi writer for our generation. He's gonna everything's gonna change, blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't know. I was there, and then I just was like, really, this is actually tiring to try and keep up with these 12 stories at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in it, and if you're not familiar with it, then it takes you about an entire season to realize what the OPA actually are and what it even stands for.
Yeah,
and
as much like I was saying that they don't explain anything.
No.
They're just dropping you into these people's stories,
Oh,
and which I like. But it does mean if you don't get there, you I've come back to it twice and watched quite a bit of it again and been like, no. I'll come back.
What's
to
his
this later.
face? What was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the face thing and the Mars? Total Recall.
Total Recall.
yeah.
And it's like that. One story is like that. And I was like, this is amazing. This is on Mars, same situation, exactly the same plot. He's a detective. Everyone's getting murked, running out of air, all the poor people, totally feeling that. And then at the second time, I'm on a ship with a bunch of people marooned. And I'm like, okay, yeah, got it, right. Okay, one of them's a rebellion, got it, okay, cool. And then, boom, his head blows off. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on. He was the one I was following. I'm like, who do I follow now? No, because he was the guy from Road Trip.
What?
Yeah, do you know what I
I think
remember?
he is, yeah.
Road Trip or the college.
To be honest, it's not the most memorable film.
What, Road Trip?
Yeah.
Are you joking? Back in the Tom Green days when that was all we listened, that was all I cared about.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I don't
Daddy,
really
would you
remember
like some
anything.
sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausage? Sausage. That's my
Tom
own
Green
bit there.
Tom Green is self-confessedly
What did I call him?
questioningly funny.
Tom Smith.
No, you called him Tom Green. You got it
Okay.
right.
Yeah, he's good.
Sometimes.
Didn't he die of cancer?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
got
think he is.
cancer.
Hold on, is he not dead?
No.
I don't know.
Oh,
You
no,
did some phone checkies.
Anyway.
Yeah, where's this guy? Where's your fact checker?
Well-
I thought we were Joe Roganing this shit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
where's
we need
Jamie?
to hire somebody. I think we could do interning. We could do interns.
To be fair, if I had a laptop here, I would just check it myself.
Tom.
Well, it's a shame that you guys don't like that. I think it's a really, really good show, especially there's not many good sci-fi shows out there, and this one is genuinely awesome. The special effects are amazing.
Yeah,
All of
there's
the
nothing I
stories.
particularly dislike about it. It just hasn't hooked me, and I've tried a couple of times. But I think it's often when I'm either half asleep or I'm playing a game or something, and I'm not. It's been one of them. I need to pay more attention.
Yeah,
there's
it's
a few shows
definitely.
like that I'm I haven't got time to pay attention to you right now, so you're on the fucking list for when I do.
Yeah, that list keeps on growing though, man. I can't keep up with it. Do you know what I've only just got around to watching, which I can't believe it's taken
If
me
you
this
say
long.
Game of Thrones, I'm literally gonna no.
Come on.
People though, people at work.
People have
And I
adjusted.
don't work in offices till recently, and people like when you're making a coffee and you're casual chat, and they're like, "So, have you seen Game of Thrones?" I'm like, "No, never seen it, never heard of
I
it."
don't even know what you're talking
Oh
about.
wait! Oh, you mean the one with the dragons?
You mean
No,
the one
never
that
seen it.
everyone in the world is watching?
Yeah.
So what are you talking about though?
Peaky Blinders.
Oh my god! I've just started.
It's
this.
so good.
It's awful.
What?
I've had to not watch 3 episodes just to get some story going.
What?
I've heard
She's
such
the
conflicting
chick from The
things.
Mummy. Which
Yeah, she's really annoying. She's got this kind of jaw where
Yeah.
she kind of
She's
she
quite
can't really
pretty.
close her mouth. a
The
little
Mummy,
bit.
by the way. Dumb. Have you seen it?
I've heard it's the worst film.
I'm
in-
not gonna, no.
Go Tom Cruise. Do it. Yes. reinventing Universal Studios. They need some money, so they've come up with a whole sideline. They're like, right, it worked for Tom Cruise. Let's start our own cult. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the Dark Universe, right? No, honestly, watch Graham Norton.
No, I know.
Very factual,
No, I know.
Right? Graham Norton is my up-to-date news feed. Right?
The renowned journalist that he is.
The renowned. He is a very good. He will be
It's a good show, man.
He will be our new Paxton.
Paxman.
Yeah, sure.
Well, how do you pronounce it? Paxton.
Jeremy Paxman. Jeremy Paxo.
What was the other guy? Parkinson. They're not the same person.
No,
actually, but you're thinking of Parkinson. You're thinking of Michael Parkinson.
The grey one that was good at asking questions.
Michael Parkinson.
Okay, and who's Paxman? Also grey, but not as good.
Paxman's political more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've literally come up with this whole new universe, which because they've obviously just tanking.
For the Mummy specifically?
No, they're tanking against Marvel.
So they're putting all of their stuff in.
All of them.
So do you remember, Disney have a park, obviously, called Disney World, or Disney Park, or something like that?
Disneyland. And
they have this
Disney
big
World.
mouse and things like that people follow. Yeah, and it's another massive cult, but we'll get onto that another time.
But they bought the right IPs.
There was
That's what they did. They went and took some of that Disney money, and they were like, "We're going to buy us some fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
We're going to buy us." They've just set now.
Which, by the way, I'm so excited to go to Disneyland and see the whole new. They've knocked down half the bar to build a Star Wars land.
Sick.
It's going to be amazing.
I just don't care.
No, I do. I'm going to take my kid,
as well.
even if my kid is like a baby, and I'm just going to hold it up.
Great way to entertain a kid. Yeah, I personally.
No, it's not a great way to entertain
the whole theme park, even the Universal Studios ones where it's like behind the scenes. I just can't.
Exactly. So Universal Studios, what have you heard about them? Are they even open? Are they even there? Back to the Future.
They made a
Beetlejuice. They were really good at Halloween, like literally because I happened to be there around Halloween in America.
As in what the park? Or
yeah.
The
and
company?
other than that, you've heard nothing, right? So it turns out they own the rights to, which I don't think is completely true, and I need to.
They still make like a lot of the movies.
Do they make Transformers? Yes. Which happens to be one of the biggest films coming out this year, hopefully.
There's another one
There's
coming out.
Splash.
Are you joking?
I would, yeah.
Are you joking?
Like, this
Have
week,
you not seen
this fucking week.
trailer?
This week, man.
Tony's re-trailering of the best movie.
They've released like 6 trailers and they're all fucking shocking.
Please don't see the recent trailer because it will just...
Kills it. I know.
It just kills me.
I know.
I literally put my hands over my eyes for the camera, for the non-camera here. That is the noise of my hands going in my eyes. But
luckily, I don't believe in their ability to write story for Transformers anymore. I just go to the cinema to see it because I want them to continue to make movies. I want to go and watch their movies I don't give a fuck. I'm like, you're making this movie and I'm paying for it myself if I have to.
But they literally show you everything.
Yeah, but dude,
it's trailers. That's just trailers.
So anyone that knows me over the last couple of years will know that I kick up a massive fuss about trailers these days, and
because you're the dream killer.
Well,
because you make trailers yourself.
Well, so since Batman versus Superman, I haven't watched a trailer.
The worst film in the world, by the way. Possibly. Against Batman with Mr. Freeze. And was the Riddler in that one?
Or that was.
That was definitely
that
worse,
still ranks up as the all-time worst.
I think I haven't watched the extended version of Batman Superman, but I have a feeling it's much better because it explains. Like, I feel like they just sped through a bunch of shit that was really important in that movie, and then were to just like, let's get to the fighty bits, and then they weren't even that great. It was all a bit of a clusterfuck.
But the fact that the trailer actually gave away the fact that the trailer actually gave away the fact that they end up teaming up to fight.
The fact that they dropped Wonder Woman in the trailer.
Yeah, and the fact that they dropped...
You haven't even dropped her movie, which, by the way, you should have already dropped.
They should have dropped Batman's movie before... You know, if they're coming up with an entirely new DC
movie.
Yeah, of course, because otherwise you're established... You haven't got enough time to establish the new Batfleck
movie, are they? They're just making a Batman with the Avengers or whatever.
No, they're making another Batfleck movie.
But they are doing I think they're doing an independent Batfleck movie.
Old Batman.
Yeah, the one that leads to...
That's a really good comic, like when he's like 60.
I like Affleck and Batman. That was not my problem with the movie.
No.
And Superman's about as Superman, anyone that plays Superman is going to be a douche.
We are literally going to end up starting a whole new podcast at this point where we're going to have to pull in other podcast friends, which would be like the Wonder Powers or whatever they're called. And
the Wonder Powers.
The Wonder Powers. The Wonder Boys or whatever. No, that's the
All Seeing Guys.
The All Seeing Guys. No, they're
the Wonder Powers.
No,
I like that.
The All Seeing.
That's what you call your
power. The All Seeing Powers. Powers off briefly.
Open All Power.
Huh?
Open All
Power. Anyway, and there's these Australian guys as well, which are really good at it. But isn't there something about how Batman never really dies and he hires a new protege and then that's the whole thing? I'm sure that was in a comic by that guy who draws really well that Max likes.
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
No, you're thinking
There's
of The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
The Dark Knight Returns actually is what they should have, what I thought they were going to base Batman vs. Superman on.
Right.
Because there's even a couple of images from Batman vs. Superman that's very similar to The Dark Knight Returns. For example, when Superman rescues the nuclear warhead before it has a chance to crush. But basically in the comic, Superman, he's like employed by the US government, as he kind of is in the film. I've kind of blocked out a lot of the movie because it was so bad. But in the book, Superman's hired by the government to take out Batman, and in the end, Superman gets...
That's a completely different story than they put in the film.
Is it?
No, Batman was hired to take out Superman because Superman's a mutant, and they didn't like mutants. And is that how X-Men come in, or is that my
Superman's not a mutant. There are no
X-Men's
mutants in the DC
Marvel,
universe. He's an alien.
Damn it.
Okay, so let me finish. Then Superman ends up getting...
Facts.
Superman ends up getting nuked, and he gets completely fucked up because he flies the nuke into the sky and then
has no sunlight.
Almost dies.
I know.
And then Batman, the Joker's actually in The Dark Knight Returns, and Batman has a huge fight with him, and then he doesn't kill him. So in the Joker's like final moments to have the last laugh over Batman, forgive the pun,
Sorry.
The Joker, who's like completely fucked up and lying, broken in the corner, decides to break his own neck to kill himself to
make Batman a murderer.
Well, to have the last laugh over Batman, And unfortunately, none of that was in The Dark Knight. It was in Batman vs Superman, and it ended up being a really shitty film because they just went, Martha. What did you say?
To be honest, I'd have been quite happy with the movie if not for the Martha bit at the end. And like having rewatched it, I get now. I get it at the time. Like, no, your mum's both called Martha, but it's such a loose fucking
it's
thing
the most
to base
tenuous
the
connection.
entire movie, like the entire turning point of the movie on. You're like, what?
Yeah.
That was it. You fucking see. The rest of the movie wasn't. I wouldn't have been that annoyed if they'd come up with just a better twist, a better reason for them to come back together at the end and not drop Wonder Woman. Maybe, put the woman in the trailer and don't tell me it's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, there's that as well.
I'd have taken that, but you haven't even introduced her as a character, and you're already. It seems like such a short-sighted. Like, we've got to do this because blah blah blah.
Yeah, well,
blah,
clearly
blah, blah.
they're shitting themselves that Marvel have just stolen a massive march on them, and they felt like they needed to catch up. And what they ended up doing was ruining their universe by trying to rush it through too quickly. What they needed to do was take a step back, do what Marvel did 10 years ago, which is start to establish all these characters and
do it
care
slow,
about
get
them.
it right. Yeah,
exactly. Rather than pushing it through like they did. I mean, like I said, they should have done a Batfleck movie before Batman vs Superman, just like they had Man of Steel.
They should have done Suicide Squad properly. And
Suicide Squad is a whole nother story. Should we talk about Suicide Squad now?
Do we have to?
Okay, very quickly. So Suicide Squad, I'm sure somewhere in
the
Suicide
original
Squad,
cut, I reckon, was probably pretty good.
Yeah.
The one that had Jared Leto in it.
Yeah.
And was it probably the original movie, but they shat themselves and recut the whole thing, didn't they?
Yes, and they recut it in a way that basically, again, they tried to copy Marvel because they basically, from what I understand, the first Suicide Squad trailer came out, and it was the one with the Bee Gees song.
Yeah.
And that was fucking awesome. It was dark, it was gritty, it
Yeah.
was slow paced, it was moody, it was everything you want out of a DC movie. And then the second trailer came out, which was the one that was really fast paced and was cut to the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Flashy stuff.
Yeah. And then that got a really good reception online, which kind of annoyed me because, I've seen.
Don't
Bohemian
respond to
Rhapsody
how many
times.
YouTube views something has and change
This is exactly
editor
what,
because of that.
This is exactly what the studio did. And the studio were like, this one seems to be more popular. And because they were having trouble with the movie, they ended up hiring Trailer Park, who are a trailer company who make trailers, to recut the movie. The ironic thing is Trailer Park are the guys that actually cut the first trailer, not the Bohemian Rhapsody one.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Exactly. So, and they clearly had a brief, which was to throw in, hey, let's make it really trendy and use like actual pop tracks and music tracks, which is why they have Eminem in there and blah, 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 which is a completely like the wrong decision to do because none of it made sense anymore. And the whole cut of the movie got convoluted and diluted, and it ended up being too many cooks. And what you got out of it was just a shit show that made no sense.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody liked it. I haven't found a single person that was like, no, that was brilliant, that was all right.
Yeah, I liked Jared Leto. I thought he was awesome.
I thought he was good,
the
and he
best
was
choice for the
underused.
Joker.
They basically cut him out of the entire movie.
Yeah.
And Will Smith, was he really...
I thought he was all right. I just thought the movie was bad.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the movie made no sense, like, at all.
But the Jared Leto thing, going back to him quickly, I don't know why they cut him out of the film. I feel like they cut him out because there was that huge backlash against his look and his appearance when they released that picture of him and he had like damaged tattooed on the front top of his head, and people were like, "Oh my god, what is this hot topic emo
they're
Joker?"
clearly responding to social media far too.
They're
Way
really
cut
like,
him out,
it
sorry, I
seems-
don't understand.
So he
meant
shot
to
a
have a much bigger
fuckload of
part.
stuff. Yeah, he was supposed to have a huge
the
part
major
in it.
role in it.
Yeah, I mean he's fucking Joker, right? You want to see him in
Instead of
it.
it being Will Smith falling in love with fucking douche face, like Focus. So it was like Focus, but everyone's wearing makeup.
Yeah, I think that was probably meant to be a secondary point of the movie behind Joker being the main character, but then they basically cut him out of the movie and made that the main focus.
The main story. And it was like, really? Even Catherine turned around at the end and was like, really?
Yeah, it's
like
fucking
that
bullshit.
came out of nowhere. And I was like, what? That it's Focus? And then we just watched the same film again.
Yeah.
But actually the other film was better. Just.
Yeah, well, I mean, any film that has Margot Robbie in it is going to be enjoyable to watch on some level.
But yeah,
Hold on,
you
what-
like that? You like that, don't you? Though
What, like hot?
skanky hot. I mean, I do too.
How is Margot Robbie skanky hot? She's just hot.
In that movie, she's pretty skanky hot.
What, in Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because she plays like a psychotic
That's what I mean.
serial killer. Well, no, she's not a serial killer.
Yeah, she just literally funded every Halloween shop for the next 10
they're
years.
killing it,
Fucking
yeah.
outfit.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
you know,
But that's sexist, but that's on the other podcast.
but that's I find her whole
At least you
character.
haven't confused it with racism.
I find her whole character to be really interesting because she's a character that was not established.
Again!
When we were kids, she was not like an established character.
Are you
but she was
joking? She was
invented.
massive.
She was invented in the show that
In
was
that
on when
cartoon.
we were a kid. Yeah,
And which I still can't find. How do I get that entire
What?
Batman cartoon?
the Blockhead show.
The one where
the-
they're all
the-
square
the
heads.
Disney one. Yeah, is that Disney?
No, it's really good.
The Warner one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never saw the final bits of it. Like, I remember watching it every week. It'd be like the new Batman's on.
I mean, I hate to say it. There's a little thing called the internet.
Yeah,
I
I
bet
know.
it's on it somewhere.
yeah, but I just want to buy it all in one bit. I like to know things are finished.
HMB. No,
Okay.
blatantly not.
All right,
Amazon, man.
Amazon.
Yeah, okay, but I like to know things are finished. Like, we should totally watch that show.
A cartoon from the 90s. It's very unlikely they finished it.
Yeah.
No one gave a fuck about
Seriously,
fiction.
somebody at the gym the other day, because I still work at the gym, somebody at the gym the other day who is a complete nutjob, who talks to me all the time, which is great. And I do totally help and try and respect him as much as possible. He can't drink water, which is fantastic. So
What?
he drinks milk. And I was like, do you know how much fat is in milk? And he's like, well, I like to drink liquids when I train. And I'm like,
Why can't he drink water? Sorry.
because he doesn't like it.
So it's not like he can't drink it.
Well,
It
I
means
mean,
he's
pretty
just
much, I'm
retarded.
sure in his world, he will
that's
never
just-
drink water.
That's, I mean, as someone that's very
Yeah.
retarded with what they put into their body,
Yeah.
that is retarded.
Yeah.
So then he switched from milk. Then I said to him all the problems with milk and the fats and everything like that. So he switched to almond milk.
Dude, I've been making my own
Oh
almond
my
milk. Okay,
God.
new topic.
No,
Yes.
we are never going to talk about almond milk or anything vegan on this show. This is a non-vegan show.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's vegan or not because I put
Yes.
honey. I put honey in it.
Almond.
Is honey vegan?
Yes.
But do you have the
you're-
sweetened
No,
almond
actually,
milk?
is
Do you have
honey-
sweetened almond?
Oh
You've been
my
making
God.
I
yourself.
make it myself.
Do you sweeten it heavily though? 'Cause
Not heavily, I
All the
put-
good almond milk that doesn't make you reg has like more sweetener than almond.
No,
That
I,
is a very good point. Is taking honey from bees vegan?
Mm,
I would
I'm
say
gonna
it's
say
not.
no.
I'm going to say it's not. I mean, you're stealing from the bees, right?
We
They're
need to call it
essentially.
vegan. We don't have a weekly vegan.
I
That's another
have-
great
I have a
intro
vegan-
for the show.
I
That's the
have a vegan debate podcast probably coming up. We'll come back to you on that. I'm not sure you're going to be the best party to be on the show necessarily.
Let me call my weekly vegan.
Because that, I have.
Well, there's
an
a guy
ability
that
to not-
Sanj knows that's a vegan, and I seem to be
There's-
following
there's
him
loads
now.
of
Like, I don't know why. I actually tagged Jay in one of his posts the other day, thinking they could be friends. It's my new thing to do: is tag Jay in things so he can be friends with them, and I don't have to.
I don't know. He's started to understand social media, and it's worrying.
I know. Well, he's upped his spelling game, that's for sure. Actually, as I learned from
It's
the
incredible.
previous podcast, yeah. What is it? You've got like a spell checker on your phone.
Grammarly, yeah, which by the way would be a fantastic first sponsor.
Podcast sponsor.
Yeah.
They would
I
be
will
a fantastic.
literally write to them.
You should do that.
My boss actually just bought Grammarly for me at work. However, Grammarly does not help if you miss a whole sentence out of a pitch.
Yeah, if
So
you
basically,
don't have the
I
ability
started
to
writing
read
the
back
I
your.
started writing the pitch, and then I just lost myself in a minute, and then wrote the end of the pitch, and then it basically says, "Hi, blah blah blah. I've been trying to contact you on this number. However, no, it doesn't say that, and then it just goes, So please do give me a call back when you can. And that was it. And I read it and I was like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And it's like...
You read it again? You definitely read it again?
I read it... No, I read it with my boss.
Okay.
And I had no idea. I was like, right, let me read this. Okay, cool. Hi, John, got it back. Regarding this property, right, cool, got it back. However, this number, got it, full stop. Next sentence, please do call me when you can. And I was thinking, well, yeah, there's no spelling mistakes. All I'm looking for is spelling mistakes. However, what I forgot to leave out was, however, this number doesn't work. So all I missed out was, this number doesn't work. 4 words.
The main essence of
Critical.
the email.
Called into a massive meeting about my email ability.
I'm amazed they even give you control of your own email.
Me too, actually. After that, like, my whole world was rocked. I felt like Superman or Batman after I just got kicked. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't write emails anymore.
Other place, you have to go through a rigorous email training etiquette course before you're allowed to email clients.
I'm not surprised.
Like, it's important.
Well, I just copy and paste now. It's much easier. Which
But-
leads for a whole new...
What's the key? What's the key?
The key.
Before you send it or show it to anybody, read it.
Yeah.
Much like, you know how before you say things, you think about them before you open your mouth.
See, I'm learning
Once in
to
a blue
do that
moon, you
better.
do anyway.
So look,
It's
even
the same thing, but on a longer written down scale. Like,
True. Very true. And we could talk about it for ages to
But
come.
you're very far away from the
Yeah,
mic.
Sorry.
He says, leaning back on the sofa.
So we talked about Batman. We covered that trick.
Yeah.
You've told us that you're obviously still working at Red Bull, I take it. You haven't decided to leave Salzburg.
Not
Yet. Let's talk about death, because you
wait,
did
coming
mention...
back to this trailer thing before we go on to
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So I haven't watched the trailer since Batman vs.
So this
Superman.
is part of, much as I hate the fact that that happened, it's part of why I've started this campaign of recutting trailers, like how I think they
Which
should
you
be.
should totally get involved
Yeah, and
in.
I'd love you to get involved in it, because the thing is, if, like, I've done this Transformers trailer, which is available on the Bones Nose feed, but it's, in my mind, like, a tear comes to my eye every time I watch it, because it's like the trailer I wanted to see for this movie.
Okay.
And it's like, there is some spoiler in it, but it tells you just beforehand, spoilers are coming up, kind of thing. Like, I'm making a joke of it, like, and recutting trailers. And I'm like, but if it actually nail that well enough, now we could pick up a movie edit off the back of that. If you did, you know, that's the
Trailer
world we
Park
live
have
in. That's the fucking world we
proven.
live in, right? So, cool.
Can you imagine being the trailer park editor who gets the call one day from DC and Warner Brothers saying, "Oh, hey, I like the trailer you cut. Can you cut our entire movie?"
I mean,
No.
just imagine, right?
I mean, to be fair, it was the wrong decision and they fucked it up. And it was
Well, no,
now a
did they
terrible
fuck it
film.
up, or did they do what they were told? And is that why they were hired? Were
Yeah,
they
fair
hired-
point.
Were they
Most
hired
likely,
to be
yeah.
machines because they knew they would cut when they were told
think
to?
they
Whereas
made
other
the movie that
editors
they
might
wanted.
have quit. Other editors might have said, actually, look, I've edited this, I've edited that, I've got an Oscar for this, I'm walking out. And then you've got this whole
As a
thing.
lot of directors are doing in the DC universe at the moment. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
Including Affleck.
Yeah.
What, Ben Affleck quit Batman?
No, he's
quit
Batman,
directing
but he's not
it.
going to direct it.
He was going to direct it for a while, and then he was like, actually, fuck this.
Well, that was more because he can't act. And
But that's
direct
why
at
you
the
could have
same
been
time.
Tom Cruise in, because actually, right, sorry to go back to this, right?
Okay.
I love Tom Cruise, right? I really do. And like, I've watched all the...
I mean, he's like Brendan Fraser.
No, no. And I did think that the other day, when it literally, pound for pound, the movie was frame by frame in different points, exactly the same. However, this is the bit, back to the Dark Universe, that I didn't realise was, which, by the way, has Javier Bardem, has...
So explain to me what's
Russell Crowe.
being
Russell
collected
Crowe.
together.
So, Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and he is in charge of, no spoilers here, ish, because it doesn't... I think they really need to pan this out for people to fully get it, right? He is in charge of a society that fights monsters and bad things that creep and crawl in the night. Now, most of these monsters, they haven't fully explained. However, Johnny Depp will be the Invisible Man. You now have Tom Cruise, who is Brendan Fraser / you need to watch the movie to fully understand his role.
Okay, and that's
Right.
part of the universe.
That's part of their universe. And they
Okay.
will both be, I'm absolutely 100% sure, they will both be in a movie again together.
Sure.
Tom Cruise
Of
course.
and Russell Crowe. And Javier Bardem is going to be...
Wolfman, is it?
I'm not sure. See, that was the bit I missed out. And they've got a screenshot. They've got a proper studio photo of them all together. And I wouldn't be surprised if they've half produced half these movies. They got the guy from New Girl, who was absolutely brilliant.
Which guy?
The funny guy.
The
Not
funny...
the black guy, not the
Jewish
gay
guy.
Jewish guy.
Not-
the other guy, the main
Okay.
guy who
Yeah,
dates her. Yeah, he was pretty funny. And no, I mean, look, it was awful, but it's nice to see them trying something. At least they're going to fulfill with a trilogy or maybe a quadruple or whatever.
I think it's gonna be never ending, isn't it? It's a universe. It's just they're gonna spin it out for as long as possible.
What's his name? Guy Ritchie was on Rogan the other day saying he put it perfectly. Like he's pretty much allowed to make what he wants because he's.
Well, he shouldn't be anymore.
I don't know.
Maybe he shouldn't be.
Who
anymore,
knows if he's now
but
never going to work again after that last movie?
But the point is that, he can't. He walks into a meeting and he's not pulling the numbers that a Marvel movie's pulling, but that's the numbers they're like comparing him to. And he's like, well, I'm not going to pull those numbers because I'm not making a fucking franchise movie that everyone's going to go and see by default.
Yeah.
Not my best movie ever is not going to hit that number. Yeah. Why are you comparing this to, like, it's unfair? And I kind of feel his pain. It's kind of unfair to compare him to that because he could make a brilliant movie with great sales, and it wouldn't
they've
be
been doing that for years. They've always been comparing people to the last box office hit, and then you get left field players like come out of nowhere. Like, so I haven't seen it yet, but I will get it, and I actually want to probably pay for it as well. Which is Get Out. Have you seen Get Out? No. I mean, it looks like it's going to scare the absolute crap out of me. Get Out. Which is a black guy who goes to visit his white family's girlfriend's family at Thanksgiving or something, and it just goes psychotic.
Oh, I've heard it's really good.
Really good. And so the figures on that, which I was a little bit surprised with, it cost something like more than you'd think. It wasn't like a proper left field one. It was like, it actually cost them like 12 million. But
that's still fairly good though.
But they made just on box office, they made something like 85.
The thing
already.
Is,
and there's two other films like that which was in this same description, and occasionally you get them. You remember like Blair Witch.
Blair Witch.
Blair Witch cost what? $30,000, and they made bank.
But in any industry that has a massive boom, you have the problem that people get used to doing things for a certain price and in a certain time, when realistically that's not the price and the time that necessarily is needed to do that, but people get used to doing it. So when the money's coming in, you get used to charging that price. Now that there's less money in the industry, the people still want to be paid the same amount as they were before. So, but you can make these movies way cheaper. But I think as you get up, the proportionate amount that each 100 million you spend gets you in the end is so minimal, right?
Yeah. But then, sorry to go back to my new favourite top person at the moment, Tom Cruise. However, more seriously, he's investing his time and energy into this. He's a full champion of the brand. He's now going to be because he's realised he'll never be invited to be
and Cruise. Yeah, that's cool.
He'll never be invited to be in Star Wars. He'll never be invited to be in any of the Marvel movies. And he is the guy.
He definitely won't.
Whoever, regardless of whatever Scientology shit. Come on, look at his Days of Thunder, right? The Firm, Rain Man, Top Gun. Which are they ever gonna? They're gonna make another one, but it's not gonna be in it.
Tropic Thunder.
Rewind. He is gonna be in it, right?
He is gonna be in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Not as him.
He'll be playing himself, but old.
Of course.
Because I haven't seen Baywatch.
But he's going to be training someone.
Will be like, hey man!
Exactly. Yeah.
It isn't the Hoff in Baywatch.
I fly fucking jets and stuff. It's fucking cool.
My name is Jets.
I mean, I actually quite like Channing Tatum now, but he's definitely their go-to guy for that bullshit.
Oh my god! Complete sidestep. You must watch this random interview I watched with Sacha Baron Cohen and some Dutch interview guy who's got like a massive following, and it's like the most awkward tanking interview you've ever seen.
Deliberately or
no? The guy literally hasn't. He's like it's hilarious because you actually see Sacha Baron Cohen play himself, and you just see how intelligent he is.
Yeah.
And this guy just tanks,
Oxford or something,
but he doesn't even know. The guy doesn't even know he's tanking, and then he's like, no, you just touched my dick. And the guy's like, okay, so yeah, like next problem, yeah, and he's like, no, but you did. And then the guy's just like, okay, so I bought you some presents, and then it's just awful.
You should go and listen to the interview because it's probably way funnier than Berg's.
Yeah, you're right.
However, he's another film genius.
That's why Bert's going to make the best comedian because he's so good at telling jokes.
That wasn't it wasn't a joke.
No, I get it.
I don't think you get many interviewees that touch other people's dicks in an interview.
You clearly have.
Oh, damn it. This isn't being live streamed.
No.
I just touched Birdie's wiener.
All right. So we talked about films, which is obviously going to now be a whole separate podcast.
Well, that's the problem with people that like films. They tend to talk about films.
Yeah.
But I don't talk about. Films
did we mention Alien just really quickly?
I still
haven't seen it yet.
So
oh my god!
That's not yet. No.
I loved it.
I'm sure
your mum hated
it,
which is Tony's mum because I'm pointing at Tony. But Tony's mum obviously didn't like it. But I think it was. I literally left the cinema and I was like,
That was great. That's what I wanted.
It's probably terrible then. that's my general rule of thumb.
That's so mean.
I
Just
know.
because I like shit films.
But I don't understand why there was so much hate towards Prometheus. I really enjoy Prometheus.
Oh, no,
I still
I
think it's a
think
really good
Prometheus people don't like this movie, and
Yeah.
the non-Prometheus people do like this.
So the
think
fact
they
that I
get a
like
bit-
Prometheus means I'm going to like Alien Covenant.
Yeah, you
Well,
get
no,
true
the opposite.
hardcore fans like me who liked all of them. And I was,
Yeah.
However, Prometheus was a little bit like, sorry, and we could talk for like 12 days about the things they alluded to in Prometheus.
Yeah.
However, when you guys see this, you'll be like, okay, and then we'll have to see because they either just went really slowly, and then he went, "Brrr," and then he went, okay, and that's the end. And then I was like,
I think they've left a
"Whoa."
big gap to make some other movies.
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. This isn't just like a floating lightsaber in the last scene. Like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, excuse me, I was eating my hot dog and now what? Sorry? Like, who?
Okay, I'm gonna go watch the movie.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you really should. It's
Fine.
like, I mean, Catherine literally ripped my arm off halfway through the film because it's still got those amazing,
moments, yeah.
scary moments. However, if you're a proper Alien fan, you're ready for them. Back to my favorite person, Tom Cruise and the Mummy. However, they did some really good shit with that. Like, so the Mummy can control other people by sucking their life force out of them,
Okay.
and then you get zombies. Just so you know.
Like, I'm not going to say.
Does zombies sell or something? Is that?
But you love zombies, don't you?
Exactly. It's almost like
But I read a review of it on The Verge, and I think it said this movie deserves to be locked up in a pyramid and left alone for another 2,000 years or something.
More
they
than
were not
likely,
very
yeah.
happy
But
with
I mean,
it.
it's not
it's too
Brendan
easy.
Fraser.
That's
but
too easy
me.
to write, though. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, that's the problem with things like that. If you didn't like the movie a bit, that line's too easy to write.
I do like the Verge's
Yeah.
headlines in general, though.
Yeah,
they
they're quite
do
good.
they get them right.
They're very Microsoft centric, which I like as well.
Well, Microsoft are killing it right now, or at
Yeah,
least
according
they
to,
are
according to the people that
improving.
say that. But
Killing
then you
what?
talk to, it's like talking to conservatives and liberals.
I s-
You go into
Well,
one little
okay.
bubble and you
Well,
hear
then
one
we're
thing. You
moving
go
into
into
a
another
different-
bubble and you hear.
Oh,
something
Yeah, here we
let's-
go.
are
Let's
we
talk
sure we
about
want
let's
to
talk
talk
about the death of
politics?
Apple.
Yeah.
But we never talked about your death. But okay, let's talk about the death of Apple.
We
first.
can
on to that.
we can
When do you have to
kill
go?
Apple and then we'll say
You're allowed to say this because loads of people say it in other podcasts. When do you have to go? You have to go like 10
20 minutes, but you guys can continue.
Okay. So you want to talk about the death of Apple? Could we intertwine that like a film with your death?
Fact. Why don't we do that?
'Cause-
What do you want to talk about
Carry
first?
on.
well, I mean, so okay, tell me about the death of Apple because I'm pretty sure everyone still buys Apple phones.
Yeah, they do, and that's the problem. Tim Cook has been so obsessed with pleasing his shareholders and seeing monumental growth with iPhone sales that he sacrificed basically every other area of the business to the point where Apple does not have a single engineer whose job it is to work on Mac OS. Like everyone that works on Mac OS, they are split.
How do you know this?
It's just
Power of the
common.
internet.
I read.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no. Oh, thank you. So sorry for all of
He
you
looks at the
dyslexic
words
people
you're
out there
saying.
like me who look at YouTube for their history. Right? Yes,
I mean, I'm sure there's
reading-
someone explaining this on YouTube if you look for it. as
Yeah,
well.
reading is a thing which involves a Kindle or a paper book thing.
Yeah, I read online. I read on my
Okay.
laptop, on my Apple MacBook Pro. Yeah, and so what's happened is that they've taken the rest of their consumers and prosumers and professionals.
What's
for
a
granted.
prosumer, sorry? It's
Well,
like a Satsuma, but a big one. What? Honestly, I have no idea. I've never heard that phrase before.
Professional consumer.
Really? Which means what? Like you buy it for your company?
Someone that buys stuff and uses it professionally.
Well,
Or-
yeah.
Are
Like-
you joking?
Well, the
That's amazing.
prosumer is
People-
like a sort of transitional.
When you call it B2B though, and not that. I
Well,
know
no,
what
because
that
that's the
means.
difference. It's like
Business.
it's like the guy that's buying his own stuff for pro use rather than the company buying it.
Okay,
But that's
okay.
enterprise, I guess.
Prosumers.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
prosciutto for computers.
Yeah, and not only that. So I don't know. I mean, ask me a question, but yeah.
What?
Well, what's wrong with the new Apple?
Yeah.
Their hardware that's not the phone.
'Cause I was just
I
about
could
to
tell you
buy a
what I don't
MacBook
like
Pro.
about. I could tell you what I don't like about the phone, but it's the other things that actually concern it. Like
Otherwise,
me.
I'm going to buy that amazing HP thing that I saw the other day because that looked amazing.
I mean, I just bought a new Windows PC.
Yeah, I would recommend buying
Really?
Windows PCs above Macs.
because I
these
literally
days, yeah.
need a podcasting thingy majiggy. I want to be like, but I did say to my wife, wouldn't it be amazing? We both sat in bed and like both had Macs and we drank cups of tea, which is a complete lie because we'll never do that
The beauty-
because I will always be in trouble.
The beauty of Adobe is that it works perfectly on both.
Really?
So if you're using Adobe products, you
Well,
can kind
perfectly
of
is not the opposite.
but what about
I-
sandboxing
I
shit?
transitioned
I've
from
heard about this
PC to
sand-
Mac on my projects daily,
Okay.
and I don't get problems because of doing that. And
Right.
that there aren't a lot of bits of software out there that like that seamless in that.
So
sense.
Bertie heard about sandboxes and got excited because he thought he could play around in.
No, my boss was like, "Oh, it's all sandboxed," and I mean, then he throws in bitcoins and stuff like that, and I'm like, meh, meh, meh. And then he's like, "What's that other one called? Crypto."
cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency in
Bitcoins are a
general,
cryptocurrency.
Yeah. And Floangeles. No, that's a mix of two other things.
I know someone that hijacked his
A
work.
fleegion, a flemgym. From that show with the white guy and the little kid and the time traveling.
I don't know what
A
you're talking
fleben.
about.
No, but what?
What are you talking about?
Yes, you do. Rick
No.
and Morty. A floben.
Oh, the fucking.
Sorry.
I
anyways.
don't know now. You've
Anyway,
yeah.
don't worry.
You've lost me. You've lost me. Where were we?
Do you watch Rick and Morty?
The
Okay,
microphone's
so
over here, Rupert.
Sorry.
I know how popular Rick and Morty is, and I'm sure if I dedicated enough time to watching it, I'd probably like
To be
it.
fair, I can't.
Do you know what? That's
that's-
almost like saying you haven't watched Game of Thrones in my world because it is like that good.
To be
Yeah.
fair,
It's on
I
that
watch
level
it,
of you
but
must
I don't
watch
get
it.
it half
It's
the
not
time
like
because-
you should watch this. It's a you must watch this.
I've watched the first episode, and I was like,
No, oh my god, the first series is good. The second series is like off on a fucking tangent.
Okay.
It's like watching
the first
Archer.
episode of season 3 that they dropped ahead of time because it got leaked or whatever is like a full fucking movie's worth of content wrapped up into 20
Yeah.
minutes. It's so incredible how they do it.
okay.
What about the one with the world within the world within the world within the world? And I was like, hold on, I'm just getting a headache.
Yeah, man, Inception's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you'll
my
love
God,
Rick,
was
you'll
it
love
based
Rick and
on
Morty.
Inception?
No, but the theory, yeah.
We
yeah.
should do a whole separate podcast.
Rick,
which is
the movie, the episode's
is-
literally called Rickception.
really.
The titles of the episodes are some of the best parts of that show.
Oh, okay.
It's all
I never see these obvious clues. I'm always thinking there's these like Tomb Raider shit can happen. Anyway, so you were talking about death of iPods, and then so supposedly I heard the other day that you'd been in hospital for like 6 weeks, and you were like, oh yeah, hey, I'm just like in hospital.
Oh yeah, that's a good transition there, Rupert. Well
Yeah,
done.
thank you.
Yeah.
it's a Segway master.
Segway master.
Oh
Sure.
my god, I
Oh.
want a Segway.
Yeah, you know the owner of Segway or the creator of Segway died
Or from what?
from reversing
do you
a
think?
Segway off a cliff.
Are you fucking kidding me? No, he was the guy who invented the better Segway.
No, I guarantee you, he took his Segway out for a hike, and there were these two hikers in front of him coming in the direction.
No.
So he reversed to let them pass, and he went off the edge of the cliff.
Segway dies off a cliff. First thing that comes up on Google.
What, Terry Segway? Fucking Terry's dead. I didn't know
Jimmy
that.
Henderson. Jimmy.
What does Google tell you?
Yeah, it's totally true. 62. He reversed off a cliff. But that's
It's not funny, except it just is.
Yeah, that's just hilarious.
I'm sure he would see the funny side of it. It's like when Richard Whiteley from Countdown died, and he died of pneumonia. And pneumonia is a 9-letter word that's got all the vowels in it. A-E-I-O-U. It's just like, it's perfect.
And that is never a segue of her to pneumonia.
Oh
from
yeah, there you go.
Mr.
See, I'm the
Vape
Segway
Flex
master.
himself, the Vape Master Flex.
Don't you attribute my pneumonia to vape?
Well, I think a lot of people will, and I think
I
we
don't.
should,
I would-
because
let
you
me
could have a
debunk
£1 million
it.
court case.
No, okay. Actually, before we get into that, let me just
Okay.
tell you my favourite segue ever, because I work in TV and I have done for the last
Decade.
14 years or
Oh
so.
my God, it's long,
And
isn't it?
yeah, a long time. Where
Life,
the hell has it gone?
That life, it's fucking long.
And the best segue I ever heard was from someone who's still a friend of mine now, and in fact he even works at Red Bull in the UK, James Milnes, and he wrote a piece on Terry and Gabby show. It was a segue from the movie segment into the Danny Baker segment, because Danny Baker was like our resident kind of
Yeah.
science guy or whatever.
The dad.
And the segue was, and now from a league of extraordinary gentlemen to an extraordinary gentleman in a league of his own. And I was like, so good.
That's good.
Yeah, anyway, so I got really sick recently, yeah.
How did it start?
It started in Vienna, I think. I got a virus when I was in Vienna. Don't ask me why. And I got back to Salzburg and I wasn't feeling very good. I was running at like 60%. So it's just that kind of well enough feeling where you're going to work, but you're feeling really run down and shit. And it lasted for like a week and I started getting really bad chest pains until one morning I woke up and just had like solid chest pains for 3 hours. Really sharp, really intense, right in the middle of my chest. So I took myself to hospital and they did an ECG and no one wants to know.
What's
all
an
the-
ECG? No, tell us. People don't know when they're
Electro-
dying. Like, loads of people keep going to work every day because they think they're supposed to. There's loads of stories where you hear people literally don't know they're ill. They think they just keep taking paracetamol. And the NHS especially, they 100% tell people to just go home and take paracetamol.
To be fair, that's kind of what happened to me.
For 2 weeks. And then you find out, if you've gone to a private doctor and paid 160 quid, you find out that you actually needed a lung puncture, you needed draining, and you got fluid on lung or something random, And then you literally hear the horrible, if you read the Daily Mail for these stories, only for those stories do you read the Daily Mail.
No, I wouldn't read the Daily Mail for anything.
No.
Kiddie dying stories is good for the Daily Mail.
They just,
Oh yeah, whenever I want my dose of
dead kids.
Yeah.
my daily dose of kidneys.
My mum
dying.
cuts them out and puts them on my bedroom door when I used to live there. She was like, do you know that cannabis you will take up a gun and shoot the world? I was like, probably. Anyway.
That does sound...
That sounds quite Bertsy, but yeah.
No, anyway.
So where was I? Yeah, so then I started to get really bad chest pains, and one morning I woke up and they were really intense for a few hours. So this was about a week into this, and I took myself to the doctor. Doctor did an ECG. That's an electrocardiogram, I think is what it means.
Your
Basically, they rig you up with all these suckers they put on your skin.
Nice.
So they put them like over your shoulders. They put them in a ring around your heart. They put them, I think, on your ankles as well. So you've got all these wires and sucker things on you. I think I probably still got like the love bites.
That's
from
called
them.
cupping.
Yeah, it's kind of like cupping, to be honest.
Okay.
Anyway, and it like reads your the electric pulses that go around your heart, and they didn't really see anything wrong with it, so they just told me that I should rest.
Go home and take paracetamol.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, they put me in for blood tests and for an X-ray, and the blood tests and X-ray didn't show anything either. I mean, the blood test showed that I had a slight elevation in my white blood cell count, which means that I had an inflammation in my blood, which is attributed to a virus, and they kind of just said, okay, you've got a virus, take it easy. Another week goes by, and then I get really sick, and I've now feel quite fluey as well, and I've still got the chest pains, and at one point I collapsed on Sunday.
With friends or by yourself?
Yeah, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I was editing something for her, and I bent down to pick up a hard drive, and my heart just went mental, and I collapsed in a heap and felt terrible, so I kind of rested it off, and the next day I went to hospital. Next day I had a ultrasound booked.
Okay.
And they did the ultrasound, and before I did it, like I was laughing and joking with the nurse, and everything seemed all fine. And then she did the ultrasound and immediately switched and was like, "You got to go to A&E right now."
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, "What?" We were just having a laugh, and she was like, "No, this is serious." And so basically, I went to A&E, and they did all the other tests, and it turned out that I had something called pericarditis, which is your heart sits inside a sac called the pericardial sac, and pericarditis is when that sac becomes filled with fluid.
Fuck.
And so that can cause problems if that sort of interferes with the rhythm of the heart.
Yeah.
And because you can't, like you would break a leg and put your leg in a cast, you can't do that with your heart to heal it. You just have to do nothing. Like you can't do put any strain on your heart whatsoever. So they told me to rest and take some pills and stuff until it got better. And then a week later, I woke up with horrendous pain in my lungs. Went back to A&E, and then I had pneumonia.
Fuck.
Yeah, so...
and pneumonia does actually kill.
Dude, they called it old man's friend.
Huh?
They call it old man's friend.
Yeah, people don't realise how much it takes.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest killers of old men. But I'm hopefully young and fit and healthy, but it was fucking painful, man. Like it was the way I describe it is if someone took a glass bottle, smashed it up into 1,000 pieces and made you inhale it. Like it was so painful. So then I was admitted to hospital for a week while they put me on a bunch of
antibiotics. How did
antibiotics.
you end up back in England?
Yeah, so then I was in hospital in Salzburg for a week.
And you just...
Recovered from that, thought that I was better. I was very weak at this point, though.
How do we stop it?
Sorry.
That's all right,
Press
T-Bone.
the record button on there.
Okay, T-Bone's leaving us.
Oh, yeah. No, I might be back. Keep talking.
Yeah, we're roganing this shit
Aaron,
now.
fuck off.
How long does it record for? 2 days.
It's got fucking loads.
Okay. So you recovered.
Sorry, this is a really long story.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, why not?
It's the power of editing.
True.
fucking-
Tony said he's not going to edit this, so. So then I was in hospital for a week with pneumonia. They put me on some antibiotics, and actually the first couple of days the antibiotics didn't work. So I was getting progressively worse to the point where my parents came to visit me and they came into the hospital room. I was just like, I was on death's door. I looked horrendous. I could barely move. And so anyway, I slowly recovered from that once they got the antibiotics right. But I was really weak when I was let out of hospital. So they told me that I should fly back with my mum because I'm all right to fly. I should fly back with my mum to England and just she can look after me. They signed me off work for a month and they said, you just got to rest. So that's what I did. 5 days later, I flew back to England, and that clearly was not the right idea.
Because the pressure on your heart, or
I don't know what it was. To me, I think it was the fact that I just put my heart through too much strain by wearing a backpack and going through the stress of flying.
Imagine if you just driven home.
Fuck that! It takes me 11 hours.
No, but if your mum had driven you home.
Yeah, but it still takes like 11 hours.
Yeah, but really?
Yeah.
But you don't think it would have the pressure? No, you just. Think
I don't know. I
airport
think it was
security.
more just the fact that like I had a big heavy backpack on with my laptop and all kinds of shit on, and it just wasn't the right thing to do having come out of hospital. Because bear in mind, at this point, I'd been 4 weeks just in bed, lying down doing
Already
nothing.
4 weeks.
Yeah, because I was off for the first 3 weeks until I then went to hospital for a week. So I was super weak at that point. And then I got back to England, and then pretty much the next day I was like, I don't feel too good. Tried to shrug it off for another day, which was again like the wrong thing to do because I just put it off. And then I went
But
back
when
to
you say
hospital.
you don't feel good, just so people get an idea.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of, especially with the NHS, especially because we do have a free healthcare service, and people do, people knock the NHS, but also it's also the way you describe it, and men especially have a problem with describing pain and describing feeling off.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those people because I always, up until this point, I'd never been seriously ill.
Yeah.
So all my life, I've kind of lived under the assumption that you get ill, you have a virus or you have an infection, so therefore you rest for 3, 4, maybe 5 days if it's really bad, and you get better because that's just what happens. You get sick, your body fights it, you rest, you get better. Until this point, I'd never had the situation where I need like proper medical care, and I was always. A lot of people go to the doctor for anything. They get a sore knee, they go to the doctor. They get a tickly throat, they go to the doctor. It's a waste of the doctor's time. It's a waste of money for the NHS and other healthcare services. Because most of the time, you just literally do have a cold. If you fucking rest for 3 days, you'll get better again.
Yeah.
So I didn't take this as seriously as I should have done because when you get shooting, relentless, non-stop pain in your heart for 3 hours that's so bad that it wakes you up, you should probably go and see the doctor about it
immediately. Do you get like a sense of, not like with depression, but do you get like a sense of like actual, not doom, but like do you actually start to feel like,
see you later.
See you, Tony. Bam! There's 2 ways to shut the front door, and that's option 1.
For someone that says wearing a t-shirt that said "I love podcasting," it doesn't quite. Yeah,
but like what I'm basically trying to figure out is just that like when do you grab your partner, or grab your mom, or grab your loved one or whatever, and say to them, actually, you know what? I really need to go to the fucking hospital right now.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Because how does that feel inside when it's not panic? It's actually just like.
Yeah, well, it's scary because you're experiencing something you never experienced before. You don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So the time I went to the hospital with pneumonia, I was sitting in bed struggling so hard to deal with the pain until I think I woke my housemates up at 5:30 in the morning, and I just said, guys, you have to take me to hospital.
Wow.
I think it's basically when it's not a pain that you're familiar with, that you've had at various stages throughout your life. Because you know what a virus feels like, you know what the flu feels like. And something like the flu is horrible and it makes you feel dreadful, but it's the flu.
Yeah.
Especially if you're young, then it's not a big deal.
I had a blood infection once, and that was pretty hard. That was pretty bad. And it actually came from something to do with the dentist, and I didn't realize. And it would but what had happened, I got this thing which was like, I got these ulcers on my mouth and my tongue. And the main thing that made me go to the doctor was the fact that I thought my whole mouth was going to fall out because everything started peeling, which it turns out was just a blood virus. And but actually there were points where I should have gone to the doctor saying, and again, because we're British, we carry on, we we do all this stuff. And then I was like, I feel a bit rough. I probably just need to, just sit this one out. I'm just going to sit this one out. And then actually you're like, no, wait. No, I can't get up if I sit down right now. And if I don't get up, what if nobody, what if nobody finds me?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, actually, probably I need to go. So then what? So then you felt rough the day after you landed back here.
Yeah, then I started to get, and it was a different pain this time. This was the funny thing. It wasn't, I had the sort of heart pain a little bit, but it was more around my sternum area. And it was more like a dull ache or almost like a bruising that was getting worse and worse. So I put that off for another day until I had to go back to hospital again. And then they diagnosed me with pleurisy.
Which is what?
Pleurisy is kind of I've described it as the tsunami after the earthquake of pneumonia, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like you normally get
That's
a tsunami.
a pretty good analogy.
It's the aftershock, if you like. Like pneumonia fucks up your lungs and it's really painful. And then pleurisy is when you don't have enough lubrication around the pleural membrane around your lungs. So what happens is your lung, the layers stick together.
Right.
Which can be extremely painful. It's not just discomfort; it's like pain.
Yeah. So what people probably don't understand is what your lungs and your heart, as you've already twice explained, sacs. That your lung sits in what? A sac that doesn't touch your rib cage. And otherwise, it would obviously your lungs would rub into your rib cage.
Yeah.
So
this is how I understand
everything
it.
has sacs around it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like micro sacs or ish. We don't know. Micro sacs. Stop thinking of your own balls. All right, fine. We'll look that up on a science podcast another time.
Yeah, I don't know the actual full like scientific.
So you had an infection like shin splints, do you know shin splints?
Yeah, they're fucking
so
painful.
Shin splints is where the shin is infected between the skin and I think
that's essentially what it was.
The muscle.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason I got the pneumonia in the first place was that the water around the heart was infected, which then sort of cross-contaminated into the lung, which is then what caused the pneumonia. So it was all a knock-on effect, which is why I just want to say, as someone who was a vapor, and for anyone that knows me that I liked vaping and I enjoyed vaping.
Canon vaping, as we would call it.
What Canon vaping?
Well, those big Canon double battery.
Oh yeah, my friend Charles calls it a lung buster.
Lung busters, yeah.
But yeah, it was not a vaping caused injury or whatever you like to say.
Okay, fine. But you have otherwise quit vaping since then.
Well, I quit vaping since then, and I'll tell you.
But is that just because of a hippie thing?
No, so the reason is because when you have pneumonia, you have a completely newfound love and appreciation for your lungs. And you're like, fuck, these things are really useful. So I would always say, even when I was vaping, I would have said the safest way to vape is to not vape at all. I think like the best thing for your lungs is fresh air. That's what they're designed for. And so like anything is not as good as fresh air. I still think that I'm still a massive advocate for vaping in many ways. I don't claim to know all of the most recent technical stuff that's coming out about it, but from what I understand, around about the time that I stopped, it was the Public Health England had said that it was at least 95% safer than smoking. And I think if you're a smoker, you're inhaling literally like
tar.
Yeah, I mean,
poison.
Everyone knows at this point how bad smoking is for you, and I think vaping is clearly better for you than. And people say, "Oh, but we don't know what's in it." That's not true. Back in the day when people started smoking, we didn't have chemical tests where you could find out what the chemical composition of everything was, which is why it's so much easier and quicker and faster now for people to discover what is in vaping.
But do you like smoking? Because I also like smoking things. So, but not necessarily like, and I don't smoke weed anymore, and I can't really. It doesn't work for me. It just either makes me completely doolally. If I smoke it over a long period of time, I'm not even sure if it's me or what, but just that all just fries out. But also just the immediate effect. If I'm drinking beer and then I smoke weed and I'm just fucking out, like cold, like I could be asleep. But I like cigars, but I like the fact that, you know, you look at a lot of stuff they said about cigarettes, and, you know, even your favorite cigarette was they pump so much stuff into it. They pump fast burners, they pump this into it. Yep. They pump you watch a cigarette. If you remember, we used to, you know, if you light a cigarette and you put it on the side, it burns. It will burn all the way.
Yeah, saltpeter, I think is the thing they put in it.
But a cigar, if you light it and don't puff it, it goes out, and you can, you know, and so then you got that natural tobacco leaf, which I'm not saying is necessarily better, but
of course it's not better. I mean, it depends on like what you mean by better. Of course, it would be better than a processed tobacco leaf that's full of chemicals. But at the end of the day, you're still like inhaling smoke, actual like you're something combustible that you're inhaling into your lungs.
Yeah.
And that in itself is inherently bad for you.
Yeah. True. However, you could also look at it that, you know, our lungs do inherently, they are a filter. And at some points, they should be allowed to work for us, not always against us. I'm not advocating smoking in that sense, but I'm just saying that, you know, with everything, like a lot of people say, like there's this thing with detoxing, like, oh, you know, I need to give my liver a break. Well, actually, no, your liver's constantly working. Whether you're drinking water, whether you're drinking Red Bull, or whether you're drinking, or whether you're drinking, you know, alcohol, it's constantly filtering. There is no detox. It's always doing its job. But are you giving it an easier time? Yes, possibly. But, you know, like,
but surely if you're drinking water for 2 weeks, that's going to be better for your liver than, you know, boozing every day.
yeah, but there's crazy people at my work and like crazy people everywhere that you say to them, you know, have you drunk enough water today? And they say, oh, well, you don't want to drink too much water. It's like, okay, right, yeah, okay, that's a good point. Like, yeah, no. Like,
I'm pretty sure you do want to drink.
no, people, because supposedly if your pee is completely white, then actually you can end up in a reverse osmosis where you're actually peeing out nutrients from your body.
Oh, okay.
But it's actually how you lose weight as well. So.
Okay. That's interesting. Never thought about that.
So there are people that can drink too much water, then you end up getting dizzy because you haven't had enough sugar. But then that's just with any diet. So anyway, so you had this pleurisy.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, so then I was back in hospital for another
And you stayed in hospital.
Stayed in hospital for
Where?
9 days in Chichester.
And was it okay?
It was a great hospital.
And
Both
the NHS were good?
amazing. I quite have a bad word said about
NHS.
them. Hashtag NHS.
Hashtag amazing job by all the nurses.
Yeah, hashtag fuck Milo Yiannopoulos because
What's that mean?
Milo. You know Milo Yiannopoulos. Yeah. So hey, oh god, this is a tangent.
He's hated at the moment, but I still listen to some of his stuff.
I think in this day and age, everyone wants to be outraged by everything, and I think no one actually investigates the facts. Nobody goes any deeper than the surface headlines that they read, which are actually written by people that have an agenda in the first place, who are paid by people that have another agenda, and blah blah blah,
or paid the people to say it.
Yeah. So I think it's very important in this day and age with all of this fucking outrage, social justice, whatever, to do your own research and to go deeper than just what's fed to you by the mainstream media. And Milo Yiannopoulos is a very good example of that because, so when I say go deeper, the deepest I've gone is 6 hours worth of podcast that he's done with Joe Rogan. But during that time, you realize, he clearly has some outrageous views that are disagreeable, sometimes hateful, and everything else. But I guarantee most people that listen to him will at least come across like a few things where you're like, yeah, you know what? He's got a point there. And I don't think he's got a point because he's just articulate and because he's just very good at convincing you of his argument. I think he genuinely has some points. But people are so quick to shoot down everything without appreciating the complexity and the breadth of.
I think what got him in trouble was you can't open the final door in the Matrix to people. You can't say stuff like that. And I think it went a little bit too. Turns out from the research I've also done, and I didn't know shit about him until after the fact. It turns out from the stuff I've done is that his book deal is back on, but possibly with somebody else, and that actually, he's still going. He's re-released his career. He had another interview on prime time. I didn't know what SJW meant, which is hashtag SJW, which is social
justice warrior,
which is supposedly now
it's the big thing. And
Lily Allen is now our new person, which is a whole separate conversation we'll save for another time. We should totally do one of these every week, you and me. Like
we can do it from Austria. That's fine.
Yeah, we can do it with Skype. Yeah. Or I can drive there.
Well, there's that as well.
I mean, I've never been there. It's what, 9 days? 9
years I've been there.
9 years?
Yeah, still waiting for Bertie to knock on the door.
You're not, though. Like, nobody says that. Oh, I'm waiting for Rupert to turn up.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, here I am playing my Xbox. I just can't wait for Rupert to turn up. No, that is not a thing.
You're right. The day that happens, I'm like,
you're like,
tell him
shit,
I'm not here.
Where's all my money? And have I locked off my house up? But no, like this social justice warrior and blah, blah, blah. And this whole, this big thing that everyone's, I think, and I haven't fully listened to the Joe Rogan podcast on it, but it's this one about this whole black day at university in America and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah. Well, that was different. That wasn't Milo.
No, it wasn't Milo. And he didn't, he's not getting involved in things like that. But that was outrageous.
Yeah, that's the one that happened at Evergreen College.
And what happened?
So, again, I'm
paraphrasing.
Well, I may get some information, some facts wrong, but from what I remember, Evergreen is a university in the US, I think, and every year the black community at the university have always staged a walkout to highlight the impact and influence that black people, whether they're students or professors or whatever at the university, have on the experience, which I think is absolutely fair enough. And it's organized within the community, and it's organized by them for them. This time around, Rupert's climbing out of the window I see. Okay. Don't need to describe what's going on. So this time around, rather than the black people walking out of their own accord, they instructed the university to implement a white walkout instead. And the problem with that is that then it stops it from being something that is done voluntarily, and it ends up being something that is done as a request, and in the lightest possible way of saying it. And so one professor took exception to that to say he does not think that telling people of a certain color to do something is the right way to tackle race issues. And because of that, then the entire, or a certain part of the university students rallied against him, and they accused him of being a racist, and they accused him of lots of horrendous things, which are not true. He's a very, very liberal, very open and inclusive lecturer. But because, again, people like to be outraged and people don't actually like to look at the facts, they just jump on the headlines. There was a huge sort of rebellion against this guy, to the point where he was being advised to not to go to the university because people were potentially going to be violent towards him, and he had to teach outside of the university in the park, so on and so on. So,
would you ever want to be a teacher? You seem like
not in the States for a start.
No, not in the States, but I always remember you were a very big fan of Shakespeare.
Yeah, I was at the Globe last night. I was at Shakespeare's Globe last night.
And even at house parties, I remember you can probably still do it now, but not for our listeners. We can do that on a separate little vignette. But you can recite pages of it, no?
Yeah.
Can you still anymore or not?
Probably some of it, yeah.
Really? If I was to have a book, I could check you word for word?
Yeah, you probably could, yeah.
I remember I don't remember how, we must have been 15, so we've known each other for a long.
We've known each other since, 14, 15?
Yeah, and
14.
We're now 32. Yeah. And, you could stand up on a chair and give the whole...
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't get laid much when I was younger.
I don't know, because looking back on it now, I'd be like, I would totally lay you. I was like, all I want is somebody to read me Shakespeare and stroke my head. And that's your two favourite main things is cuddles and Shakespeare.
Who doesn't love cuddles and Shakespeare, right?
I don't know.
Well, actually, I think quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No, I mean, I used to enjoy a lot of Shakespeare. Had some really great teachers.
Yeah. But I think so. Yeah, the only point I was trying to make there was that teachers are there to, and they battle against this stuff, and then you get students that now have got too much power through Facebook and through whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that, and especially in America, it's going absolutely outrageous, and they need to tighten it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you watch these ones of people hitting people in the face with hammers, and yeah, I understand the point they're trying to make, which is that I think the guy hit a guy with a bike lock. And
he jumped. That was the one when he jumped out on him, right?
Yeah, and look, okay, the guy was supporting Trump, which is fair enough. But you don't hit someone in the face with a bike lock because they're supporting Trump. You talk to them, you get to know what he was going on about. And the whole world hasn't completely collapsed because of the Trump presidency, and
No, but the problem with the problem with the world right now is, if I know what the problem with the world is, one of the things that I've noticed, one of the themes that I've noticed over the last few years is that everything is apparently very black and white to everyone. There's always a side. There's always a left and a right. There's an us and there's a them. There's no grey area. There's nothing in between, and that's because I think the way that people particularly consume media these days. Everything's kind of headline driven. Everything is hashtag driven. There's no depth to any debate. There's no patience for reasoning. There's no patience for understanding. Because we live in such an instant world, we also want to have instant opinions.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shame that then things like this happen, and the mob end up attacking a very left wing. Progressive lecturer and accusing him of racism. And by the way, he was also then told by his faculty staff that he's not even allowed to retaliate to the accusation of him being racist.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean,
sorry, this is all getting rather deep.
No,
isn't it?
it's not getting deep. I mean, it's something you've got to talk about. And I think we all picked on some of our teachers too hard.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Dancy.
Yeah, especially some that I picked on, and some that were really good to me, and they also demanded a certain level of respect. But I think that you have to roll with the punches sometimes. And I mean, if something like, do you remember that, off tangent slightly, but do you remember that movie, what was it, where the teacher was gay, and it was
you're talking about Captain My Captain?
No.
No? Okay.
No, that's Captain My Captain's from maybe that one. No, not Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society.
No, he wasn't gay, was he?
Oh no.
No. No, the stupid In and Out with the douchebag in it. But basically, what I'm saying, like in America, they put this power to their philosophers. They put the power to their teachers like so much, and it's like nothing can be ridiculous, and like, I mean, they all go to college. They pay so much money to go to college. They all feel like they need to rebel against something and argue against something, which is fair enough. You do. And I don't know. It's just you shouldn't pick on one dude because he turns up for work every day and tries to just he's obviously not being bad.
No, I mean, he had a perfectly valid point. The fact that you're singling people out based on their color and instructing them to do something that they apparently do not have a choice in is a problem with racism in a certain way. But it seemed to be justified because because it was done towards the white members of the university, and so apparently you're not allowed to be racist if you're,
We're just not allowed to be racist generally.
Well, I think clearly
You're not allowed to be sexist. You're not allowed to be vegetarianist, veganist.
Are you a veganist?
No, I'm not a veganist.
Well, really, because vegans are fucking annoying.
To Bud Bert, the return of Pump and Squirt. Coming from theaters near you, it's To Bud Bert, the return of Pump and Squirt.
Currently, this podcast is sponsored by Lovely Beers. Like, all I do is listen to podcasts and learn shit. Like, and I'm like,
to what I've been doing.
yeah, I know. And they're these bitches. These fucking bitches. And they make buck by playing games badly. Like, or some of them are quite good. To be fair,
you either have to be bad at games and fucking funny, like Funhouse.
Come sit here.
Or you have to be, like, just godly at games.
Yes. What was that zombie game that you used to love and Tony still loves?
Daisy.
The bit, and it's really big, isn't it?
It's
and you
great.
walk around for hours and you can't get shot
I
once.
still love it. I just
And
don't
you-
have a good enough PC to play it.
Do you see the trailers of the chicks that like she was like about to save her friend,
Yeah.
and then she gets shot in the head, and the guy's like, "What?"
Mate.
Please sit here for just 1 second. I want to ask you something. Jason Bell, explain to me about how Red vs. Blue is on Netflix. And where the fuck do I start? Because it seems like there is now, they've edited them into singular movies.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're an hour and a half long. What's the Chronicles?
And
it's now the Chronicles journey, and then it's the Chronicles return. And I'm like, what?
I'm a little, I've missed, since, I think the last season I watched was season 13.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean anything now, because there's only 9 seasons. Well, no, they've literally edited it.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, no, they've edited it. No, well, okay.
Because the movies thing, they all the previous seasons, like when they released the like season 10 DVD, like best of all of the first 10 seasons, they edited all the first 10 seasons into just, they took out all the adverts, the credits and everything.
On this
made
version,
it like feature length. Because the episodes are only 5-10 minutes anyway. So
right. Well, then on this version of my phone, it's 13 seasons, but they've got the Blood Clutch Chronicles version.
The Blood Gulch Chronicles, yeah.
Gulch, sorry, again.
That how many seasons is that? 5 or 6?
It's 1 hour 16 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that will probably just be the first season, I would imagine.
Okay, so then you've got version 3. Okay,
because the Blood Gulch Chronicles.
Then you've got the chorus. Sorry, I'm dyslexic, so I can't read. So what does that say? The chorus.
The chorus.
The chorus. So you've got the chorus trilogy, but that starts with
that'll be
Project Freelancer.
Yeah. I was going to say it'll be the Project Freelancer.
And then you've got the chorus trilogy.
Oh mate, it's the thing with Red Blue. The only place to start is the start. You got to start with the Blood Gulch Chronicles. Then I guess if it's not easily laying out with what the chronology is, start with the Blood Gulch Chronicles, because that's Blood Gulch and Halo 1 is where they set all the first 5 seasons.
Do they refilm it with the new games, with the new characters?
No.
So they keep it all in the old school?
Yeah, mate. For a while, when you went back and watched season 1, you had to watch it letterboxed.
Yeah.
With the top and the bottom cut off, so because they did that originally, so you couldn't see the radar and the health bar and the ammo and stuff. They just letterboxed it out,
right.
Which made it like it sort of seemed more cinematic, but it was just so they would. I can't remember what they were doing in how many P's it was originally, but they went back and remastered.
How many P's? How many P's?
P's.
You mean frame P's. My phone has like 10,000 P's and I just caught it. It fell off the table. Literally into a glass.
It almost
of
had
water.
no P's.
Yeah. I have a Google Pixel P's.
Oh, is that Pixel?
Yeah. It's quite nice.
What's it
Really
does?
good. Camera's amazing, right?
Oh,
The camera is amazing. Literally, Catherine is like, I don't want to take a selfie on your phone. Oh, on my phone, I want to take a selfie on your phone. And I'm like, well, get my phone then.
I should buy one on my phone.
Apart from the other day, the light came on. I had the dreaded light of doom.
Oh, it's got one of those.
Well, the light came on, and I was like, my pocket feels like it's on fire.
Shit.
Hold on, my leg is on fire. No, wait, hold on. There is a fire in my pocket. And then I was like, turned it on, and then the light is just shining, and I couldn't get it to turn on.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's terrible.
But no
Shining
apps
light
are
of death.
installed. No apps are installed.
That's odd.
So you download
Oh,
what you want.
right. Oh, so it's all on cloud. All the apps are on the cloud.
No, you pick what you want. So nothing's there set.
Oh, right. So just blank slate, you mean?
Pick what you want.
Gotcha.
So you download
That's
the
cool.
stuff you want. A few things are blocked, which is really weird, like Amazon, which is strange.
No, it's
Bit personal.
a bit
Little bit
strange.
personal.
Amazon is blocked.
It was Amazon Prime Videos blocked. You have to download another app to download Amazon Prime.
Why?
And there's no File Manager either, which was a bit weird. So you had to download an app to forget File Manager, which basically
Wait,
means
Farm Manager? Why is
well,
that?
it's like Windows. It's like, you know when you double click My Computer,
Yeah.
and look at your files.
Yeah.
There was not that.
Right.
There was not that.
What's okay?
So there was nothing. So you were just like, so how do I look at my files? And they were like, you don't need to look at your files. You're on Google. You ask Google, and Google will show you your files. I was like, no!
There's this nameless, faceless gatekeeper of your stuff. It's like, are you sure you have my stuff? Can I just check that I haven't? Oh, trust me. We have all your stuff.
Yeah. And they were like, but
we'll show you it when you need it.
And it's unlimitedly backed up. And I'm like, well, but what does that mean? And they were like, all of your stuff is on the cloud. And I'm like, no, but I just want to check.
Yeah.
And they were like, you don't need to check. You just need to trust us.
What if it rains and the cloud disappears?
Yes.
That's what I want to know. Oh, mate, it's terrible. After being so good the last few years of being like getting out of the crazy conspiracy phase that I was in and being more like actually being normal about me politics and stuff. I started watching prepper videos the last few days. Prepper videos, like doomsday prepper videos.
Okay.
It's so funny on YouTube.
So
there's many funny fucking videos of just crazy
hand
stuff.
signal you O, M, and G.
That was a bad G, man.
Yeah, that was a bad G. I was a bit confused. I put my other hand up. I didn't know what it was going to do.
I would have been, if we really were doing silent communication, I would have definitely thought it was a bad C.
Yeah, it was a Batman. It was like O-M, Batman, because that's two hands together. But basically, I really didn't want to talk about this today because it's way too early to talk about it. But there's this tower in Kensington that happened to set fire.
Green fire.
Yeah, thank you. And it's really bad. And so there's this massive conspiracy now about the amount of people that died.
Oh, yeah. It's mental. That's crazy.
Because they have. It's not really a conspiracy though. They're fudging the numbers because they don't want to make it seem as bad. There's like they're saying there's the death toll's risen to 30. 70 people are still missing.
So that's
or missing. You mean 100 people burned to death? Like messed up.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
But that's not really a conspiracy. That's like legit. They're fudging the numbers.
The problem is that a few people who are quite good with Facebook and quite good with those, what do you call them, memes or whatever,
memes,
have made these things which look like this. And this is, I really am doing this in the best taste I can try to. Yeah. But the Grenfell, what's it called?
Greenfell
Towers is not a link to the Twin Towers, right? Okay. Right, but people are trying to say that basically, look, there's 18 towers, it didn't fall. Right? There's 18 floors, that didn't fucking fall. But look, there's the Twin Towers and it blew up. Like,
got a point though.
You have to leave.
It's got a point though.
There's some stuff, man, because like I said, how I broke out of the conspiracy mindset. It's like there's so much stuff. Like there are so many fucking people in the world who know so much about really specific fucking things, and it's amazing how those expert opinions get just discounted by conspiracy.
Yeah, conspiracy.
Like just the jet fuel thing. Like jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams thing. It's like, it doesn't have to. There's like a good 500 degrees Celsius leeway where it becomes completely unstructurally stable and you can't build buildings out of it.
Whoa.
So
are we doing this, Jason?
No, we should. I mean, we shouldn't.
Are we doing
I
this?
actually have to go.
Please. Are you saying that you actually now think that it could be possible that it fell down?
I mean, years ago, I switched on that.
So you're now a pro plane
No.
person. I'm confused.
No. Here's the thing.
You need
I'm
to be clear.
not dogmatic either way. I'm like I respond to whichever. Like, so I'm not.
Slow down.
I don't know.
Too good with your words.
Slow your roll, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I say what everyone who doesn't know shit should say. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I haven't fucking. But a lot of the science.
Because look,
on
if you take
on a more
cocaine
intense
and you mix
second
other
look.
ingredients to it, it makes crystal meth. No, it doesn't, but it makes crack cocaine. But what I'm saying, so what you're saying is, if you take plane fluid and add jihadist terrorists, it makes steel melting ability.
Close.
Sorry. This is the perfect time for you to join the podcast.
Oh man,
Just
it doesn't have to. That's
I
the
never
thing.
did science.
So
It
you're
doesn't have to.
flammable terrorists, basically. They're like super flammable terrorists.
Because people look at the steel beam and they say the melting point of the structural steel is this.
Yeah.
It's it's close to like 2,000 degrees Celsius,
right?
Like maybe like 1,700 or something like that. Jet fuel burns at like 900 degrees Celsius or like 1,000.
So we're short 1,100.
These are rough numbers, just to give you an idea. But the idea is, and I watched a video on this recently where a guy, an engineer was going through this where it's like he had a structural steel rod and he was like, look, I'm going to heat this up to like half the temperature that freaking jet fuel burns at. I'm just going to heat this rod up. And he had like liquid steel as well, and he was showing like all the different temperatures. But he was like, look, I'm going to heat this to about the temperature that jet fuel burns at. And he was like, see what happens when I do this? And he grabs the rod by the top, it's in a vice, and he just goes whip, 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 and he's just wiggling the thing back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like, funnily enough, it's not structurally stable anymore. And it's like,
but then why don't people make memes about this?
But because people see because idiots see the thing of like jet fuel melts at this temperature. Jet fuel burns at this temperature. Structural steel melts at this. They see the huge discrepancy and they don't understand.
What about those peanuts on planes though? Wrapped in little aluminium packets, they fucking burn like motherfuckers. They are like charcoal bread.
Here's the irony of me telling you about the Twin Towers, the man who's never been on a plane.
Oh my god!
I don't even get your crazy peanut analogy. Whatever you're talking about, it means nothing to me.
Oh my god, that's the best news I've ever heard. We've totally spiked the whole podcast. No one's going to even be able to edit the sound. It's just all spikes. Poor Greg. Poor Tubbs. Oh my god, you've never been on a plane. Yeah. So, do you know what France looks like?
Oh yeah, I've been to France multiple times.
You drove there?
On the ferry.
On the ferry, right.
Well, so, drove onto the ferry, drove to the ferry, same thing.
So where is the furthest place you've ever been from your home?
Berlin.
Wow.
No, No, we went past, but we went. What's Belgium? Went Belgium. It was
No,
Belgium
Belgium's
before.
before.
Before, okay. And my geography's pretty shit. Yeah, Berlin. Berlin's furthest than me. I'm not a very travelled man.
I love it.
Okay?
I love it. I think
I'm
that was,
theoretically
that is a
travelled. I've
priceless-
seen a lot on the
even if
internet,
that's
but
not
that's
a whole
about it.
podcast, that can just be a 10-minute clip.
Yeah, you
for
can put
an
that
advert.
snippet in.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I told
Yeah,
you.
okay, you
I
go.
told you.
Right.
To Bud Bert. The return of Pump and Squirt. Coming from theaters near you, it's To Bud Bert. The return of Pump and Squirt. Currently, this podcast is sponsored by Lovely Beers.
What is your views on vaping?
My views on vaping are that it's a highly effective tool for getting people off smoking. My opinion is that smoking is far worse for your health than vaping. So anything you can do to stop people smoking so much is a good thing.
But where does this vape go when it vapes?
Sit closer to the mic.
Sorry, where does where does the vape go when it vapes?
What do you mean?
Because personally, I must say, I vaped for an evening,
Mm.
and I've woke up the next day and I've literally felt like I've been punched in the lungs.
What?
Yeah, I personally just like, and I've ripped bongs. I've done stuff. I've done other things and like things that do with things and go in your face and go in your like just breathing. Not
I know,
dick,
yeah.
obviously,
I know, yeah.
but just breathing things and inhaling things. And I must say that after I vaped for an entire evening, I didn't feel that great.
That's interesting. I mean,
It also made my hangover worse, but you don't have hangovers.
No, I don't get hangovers because I don't drink. But that's interesting you say that. You're definitely an exception to the rule. It's possible that you might have a propylene glycol allergy.
Oh, right. So, sorry, this is like, okay, on to one of my favourite topics. Let's talk about fracking. No, but like, seriously, what are you? You work for like the oil and gas industry. You're like, oh no, but you might be allergic to propylene. What? Sorry, glycolol.
Propylene glycol.
And that is what?
Propylene glycol is one of the component parts of e-cigarette liquid, e-liquid.
And this is doing nothing for your alarm bells. You're like, psh.
But propylene glycol is a really prevalent chemical in a lot of the food industry and in a lot of the drug industry in general. Propylene glycol is included in aspirin inhalers. It's used in cosmetics. It's used in.
What about the talcum powder bitch that put talcum powder on her vagina and?
To be honest, if you do anything, what she did it for like 40 years.
Yeah.
If you do
obviously a
anything
stripper.
every single day for 40 years, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be good for you.
Jesus didn't say that.
Jesus didn't live 40 years, so suck it. Oh no, this is going out to the world.
No, it's not. This will be a separate podcast.
How is this going to be a separate podcast?
Well, we can edit that. This is clearly going to be two. We have to edit them into different bits. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do vignettes.
I have a feeling that like sometime in the future,
Yeah.
this will be looked back on, and someone somewhere is going to find the line where Christian Vassallo said, "Jesus, suck it."
Well, no,
And
but
then-
that's where Dan Carlin says that actually you must. Like a load of my friends say, "Why do a podcast?" And like not friends, brother-in-laws, Henry. And other people
And Tony.
doubters. No, well, Tony's
haters,
obviously a full blown Christian podcaster. I'm joking, but he's like got the t-shirt, got the company, got everything. But the reason you do it is because what happens in 100 years, if it is like the movie you haven't seen, which is Alien.
Don't tell me anything.
No, I won't. But you don't know anything and you don't remember anything, and so like you need to have that memory. Imagine, so what Dan Carlin says is, imagine if you had podcasts from people in the 1980s. We took photos, but they could have recorded audio and stories. What was it like to grow up when there was gas lights in the street?
See, it's interesting you say that because that's my idea for my podcast. So
Okay.
my idea for my podcast, I don't know if I should put this out there or not.
No, well, I mean, what if you're going to leave Ginger and the Jew, seeing as you just started it?
No, we're
Okay.
doing Ginger and the Jew as well.
Fine.
Okay, so my other podcast idea is called Podsterity. Right?
Okay.
So, preserving things for posterity.
Posterity.
Podsterity.
But what's posterity?
Posterity.
Posterity means
Yeah.
what? Isn't that like austerity with cuts and stuff from the communists?
Okay,
The
so
conservatives.
what I want to do is I want to say, for example, interview or have it as a guest on my pod. It would be my grandma. And,
Okay.
Old people have got, and she's not like a doddery old person where you tune in and you're like, oh God, I don't want to listen to this, But she has a lot of very interesting stories to tell about when she was younger And these are stories that I think are going to get lost, and they deserve to be preserved. I mean, she told me some crazy shit, like when she was a teenage girl or a young woman in her 20s, and she would go out with her friends. I mean, I only know my gran as an old woman. You forget that she was a teenage girl who used to get excited about dressing up and going out and seeing her friends and chasing boys and doing all the other stuff. What you also forget is that she didn't live in a time where we have access to everything you want whenever you want it. And if she wanted to go out and wear tights like girls do, they couldn't afford tights because tights were really hard to make back in the day and they were really expensive. So instead of buying tights that she couldn't afford, the girls would cover their legs in gravy.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they would draw a line up the back of their leg for the seam with a bit of eyeliner pencil. And they would go out. And that's literally what they would do to make it look like. And they would shit themselves if they saw a dog in the street because the dogs would start running up and start licking the gravy off their legs. And they're and these are the kind of things that I want to
Well, then you need
preserve.
to do a podcast. But I mean, there's a lot of other ways, but you should do a podcast with it. I mean, I think Jay was looking to this possibility of a family tree archiving thing, which is filming and interviewing your grandparents. And
same kind of thing.
Yeah. But I would definitely say, it's important, and you should do that. You should definitely, I'm sure that the GL guys will help you get all the equipment there and do that and do it. I
mean, to be fair, I do work for a massive media company as well. So.
But do you have all the mics and these stupid cool stands and this flexi arm that Tony's saying that's sponsored by Rode or not sponsored by Rode, which is the most expensive, not expensive thing?
Dude, we shot a music video for ourselves for shits and giggles with Phantom cameras and stuff.
What's Phantom cameras?
You don't know Phantoms? Phantoms are the super high speed cameras that shoot ridiculous slow motion.
Okay.
Originally developed by the army, and now they're used for the best quality slow motion capture you can get.
I must say, I really love. I'm pretty sure it's one of your. I'm not sure if it's your video, but I'm pretty sure it's a Red Bull one, which is these two mountain bikers, and they dive down a hole. Do you know the one? They dive off a cliff into a hole, and there's a ramp at the bottom of the hole.
It doesn't spring to mind.
No.
I do know most of our content,
Maybe,
so it may not be one of ours.
But it was insanely dangerous. They had to hit a gap, which was 6 foot by 3 foot, and it was coming off a cliff, and they're basically going into a natural ravine.
Right.
But they've come off the cliff and gone into this hole, which then goes into a cave. But they've perfectly sculpted, so then they go down and come out.
Well, it sounds awesome, and I'm surprised I haven't seen it. It's probably likely it's not one of ours. Because...
But what about the guy who landed a parachute without having a parachute?
That was amazing. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wasn't your boss what the fuck? Who? Hold on. Wait, why is he not wearing a Red Bull t-shirt?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what our sort of corporate or what our what we would think of doing something like that. I wonder whether that's too reckless. Although actually, Travis Pastrana jumped out of a plane without a parachute once, and without anything. He's only wearing a pair of, I think, red shorts. He's topless. He's holding a can of Red Bull.
And how's he do it?
So he jumps out of a plane, and he's completely free falling, no parachute, no nothing. And then someone else with a parachute comes along and puts himself to it.
I think I saw one like that.
But I mean, that's fucking bonkers. Travis Pastrana is a legend.
I saw that, and actually, that's the funny thing about YouTube, and that's the funny thing about Facebook and their social media, is that actually I saw that and it wasn't labelled with anything. And isn't that annoying?
What do you mean it wasn't labelled anything?
So it was actually a repost by somebody else.
Oh yeah, but that happens all the time.
I know,
that's
it's awful.
a big problem for content creators these days.
Yeah, and then you get this repost, and you have and that's how you get fake news, and you don't have any idea what's going on. And you're like, okay, I'm sure I've seen that.
Yeah, it's a big problem. There's also a big problem with people. I mean, it's a lot worse on Facebook. You don't get that on YouTube really, because you do to an extent, but most of the time you see who the uploader was and you know that it was their video or not.
So you can call them out on it or what?
Well, it just seems to be far more prevalent on Facebook. Also because Facebook monitors its or Facebook
oh my God,
does
have you
its
seen
whole
that
view
documentary?
system. What?
Or the whole small vignette about that.
What about
the Facebook authorizers?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's a big. There's only about 300 people to authorize every Facebook clip in the world, and that's why you get these incredibly bad clips that shouldn't be authorized, because they're overworked and they're tired and they just click yes. So there's
Or
people that have
authorised
to
in
watch
what sense?
every clip. Like George Orwell, there's people that watch every clip.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Like,
What, every video that everyone uploads to Facebook?
Every
Bollocks, don't believe it.
okay, hold on one second.
There's no way you can view that much content. It's not humanly
Facebook
possible.
moderator.
What?
Well, we'd have to do proper.
We need
Ignore
a
or delete?
Jamie.
Huh?
We need a Jamie, Joe Rogan's Jamie,
Yeah.
constantly doing the research for us.
Unpaid and overburdened. This is from the Guardian in 25th of May. Testimonies from those who working in the where right. Nine. Do you remember? Actually, it wasn't Black Books. It was actually a Sherlock Holmes one. But there was one where they moderated things, and it was actually the moderator that was a killer. But yeah, these people are paid literally $15 an hour, and they have to watch all the videos.
$15 an hour isn't. I mean, that's not too shabby.
No, it's not too shabby, but you're literally watching 9,000 videos a day. You go into work every day, 9 a.m. in the morning, turn on your computer, and you watch someone having their head cut off every day, every minute. That's what you see, heads being cut off. That's how one man who wishes to remain anonymous characterizes his job as a content moderator at Facebook. We were underpaid, undervalued. Yeah?
Wow.
I mean, it's a real thing. And, like, that's why you get... okay, so back to the tower thing, which possibly...
Well, we were never on the tower thing. That's a separate thing.
Okay, fine. But with the Grenfell Tower, there are videos of people on Facebook Live
Of course.
saying goodbye to their families. And
Yeah.
you'll never see them.
Of course.
Well, where do you think they went? They were edited out.
By whom?
Facebook. They were sent
Why?
to their immediate families and edited out from everyone else's lives. Because nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see a picture of a poor Spanish law student and of, not poor as in that, but as in like a Spanish law student and, whatever, dying in a flat.
But they're perfectly okay to put ISIS beheading videos on Facebook.
Well, they don't. They cut all them out.
Did they, though? I don't know if they
pun
did.
intended. They cut all them out. But they do, yeah, Christian. They do.
Oh, okay. I thought that that kind of
Do you
stuff
know
is
this
still
could be
alive.
this is a full-time job, is to literally, take it, to look into this stuff. And that's what you were saying. That's what you were just saying, was that people don't care enough to listen for longer than 2 minutes. All we care about is waking up in the morning and swiping left, swiping right, or we listen and we just literally look at something and go, yeah, fine, okay, fine. Nobody actually takes time to do 10-minute Google research or listen to a podcast that's about the person that was actually interviewed. And,
Yeah, it's like back in the day when Osama bin Laden would release another tape and it would be in the news, and the headline for the news would be Osama bin Laden has released another videotape calling death to America and destruction of the infidels, and that would be their tagline, and then it would just cause outrage, and no one would actually bother to read the full statements. And if you were to go online and go to the Al Jazeera website where they would have a full transcript of what he said. Yes, I'm not condoning Osama bin Laden.
No.
And I'm like, if you are someone who sympathizes with him and you read what he says, he's a very well-educated, articulate, intelligent man.
Oxford, didn't he?
Yeah, he studied. Well, he definitely studied in the UK. Perhaps it was Oxford, perhaps it was somewhere else. But yeah, he definitely studied in the UK for a time, and he comes from a very good family, a very wealthy family, a very influential family. And anyway, he's a highly intelligent and articulate person. And if you're someone who's sympathetic to his cause and you read what he has to say, he puts forward a very convincing argument for why he's doing what he's doing. And even as someone who's not sympathetic to his cause, if you're a rational person who is able to go into something with an open mind and not just, have preconceived ideas about what the media wants you to think, then you can read his things and be like, yeah, you know what? Okay, I don't agree with the violence and everything that he wants to. That he ultimately wants, but if you read the comments about economic policy and about the way he wants to bleed America dry through causing them to fight unwinnable wars and stuff like that, it's like, okay, he's got a point, and the reasons for doing so, the way America asserts its imperialistic values
But
on
do
the
they
rest of
actually
the
have a
world.
point with the unwinnable wars? I mean, all we do is do unwinnable wars.
Well, no. In the past, you would normally you would fight a war against another army. You would conquer that army, and there would be a clear winner.
Okay,
These
so
days,
we
that's
tried.
Trident.
I wish Tony was here, but not really because we just started fire. But with Trident, would you rather have sprinklers in every council flat,
Yeah.
or would you rather have Trident?
I think that's boiling it down to a far too simplistic question.
But I think that's what a lot of the media want to say most days. Even today, I heard it was what's going on with this and what's going on with that, and that's the two things it comes down to. And you can only believe if you're a conspiracy theorist that this fire happened way too close to everything else that happened.
Well,
A hung parliament and then a massive fire in Kensington.
but it's not really a hung parliament, is it? All they need to do is go into a coalition with the DUP, and they're gonna have a government. So
And are people going to do that? I don't know.
yes,
So that's it. So that's
we're gonna have a conservative minority government.
Is
which
this what's
has backing
happening?
the
Because
DUP.
no one's officially said it. I'm not sure myself.
No, but that's what's going to happen. I'm almost certain of it. That's what it looks like is going to happen. So yes, we're just going to have a conservative minority government rather than a conservative majority government. But I agree with you that it does seem, at the very least, unfortunate that these things have happened so close to everything else. Yeah.